right, we have John Favole here.
How you doing?
Good. How you say it in Spanish again?
Favole. It's the same thing in Italian. Favole, favole.
Favole.
Either way. Yeah. Favole in English.
That's awesome. Thank you for coming in, and thank you, Rob, for getting the legend in here.
Yeah, the legend. That's ridiculous.
He is the South Florida legend. Legend.
Legend. You know, that just makes you feel a legend, icon, this and that. It just means I survived for many years here.
Yeah, it means you're not dead, right?
I'm not pushing up daisies yet.
Okay, so you were born in Cuba.
In Cuba, Havana, Cuba.
Wow. How was that? Now, how long did you grow up there?
First 4 years of my life. Then we came over Thanksgiving Day, November 24th, I believe it was, of 1960.
Wow, and you came right here to Florida?
Came to Miami under the guise of we're going on vacation. Castro had taken over. My family kind of hung around for a year to see where that was going to go. And then they decided we need to do something. You know, they're taking young boys and turning them into little military communist guys. So
that's what they were doing over there?
Right. So my mom says, time to go.
Time to get you out of there.
Yeah.
So then you come over here, you come to Miami.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then do you stay living in Miami?
Settled in there with, like a bunch of refugees. I mean, I've told this story a million times, but if you haven't heard similar stories, I mean, it's like that, whether you're coming from another country through New York or whether it's, Cuban exiles. Or now, people, whether they're from Mexico or Honduras, Central America, wherever, you kind of come over however you can and you grasp onto whoever you know here. And we were very fortunate that our family had business associates in the U.S., and so they were able to kind of get set up. And then we came over little by little. This aunt, this uncle, this cousin. Had a cousin that was 6 years old, flew from Havana to Jamaica to Miami by himself. 6 years old. That's how desperate the situation was.
And that was the route to get in?
That was the route to get in on what they called Peter Pan flights.
Okay.
And then, me, I came with my mom. So here I was 4. And, Johnny, we're going on vacation. We're going to America. We're going to Miami. Oh, cool. So.
And how'd she get you over? Like what was the route that you guys took?
We flew, I believe it was Pan Am. To
really?
Miami International Airport, and then, stayed with an aunt and uncle, my mom's aunt and uncle, my great aunt and uncle, my oldest of cousins. I'm an only child, but I had 6 cousins that are like brothers and sisters, and then another batch of Rodriguez relatives who live in Houston. It's another 5. But, we were all tight. We all lived together, so they were like brothers and sisters, and, stayed with them for a while until everybody got their act together, started working, started, developing, a knack for the English language.
Yeah.
Went to school, that type of deal. And that took about, maybe 5 years. 1965, I think we all kind of branched out. We got a house. They got a house. We moved. Still nearby. But
now, could your family talk English, or they had to learn it?
Yeah. My mom went to school in St. Louis for college.
Oh, okay.
So, she wasn't... Yeah, she spoke broken English, but you could understand her. I mean, she was fine. So she was able to work immediately, and as a secretary, and so she kind of grew up in the rocket launch era of the computer age.
Yeah.
So at the time there was IBM, Honeywell, and Sperry Univac, which is where she worked, and they did all the computers for the rocket launches. So we came in 1960, and that's when it was all happening.
Wow.
So, she was...
So she worked on the computers that were setting up the rocket launches?
Yeah. Huge mainframes, buildings. What is now on this used to be 2-3, floors of a building.
Wow, that's awesome.
Amazing, yeah. So it was nice.
Yeah, and then you went to University of Florida, right?
South Florida.
South Florida.
Yeah, in Tampa. Yeah.
Now you
grew up in Miami and went to Miami-Dade Community College, now Miami-Dade College. Stayed at home, worked. Tried to do the best I could, making A's and B's in school, and work, and save my money, and then finished my last 2 years at USF.
So now, when you were done with that, you wanted to do sports, right?
Right. I was the sports editor my junior and senior year in high school. And, I love sports. I played football, baseball, basketball. And then when I kind of topped out at about 5'9" in 10th grade and playing JV basketball, and, these guys would jump to the moon and I had to cover them.
Yeah.
It wasn't working out. So I'd kind of dropped basketball as far as JV or varsity, that type of deal. I still played competitively in leagues and stuff, but not at school. And I concentrated more on my other love, just writing. Whenever I had to write something, a book report, it was always on, the Green Bay Packers, the Miami Dolphins are a new football team that's coming to town and blah, blah, blah. The Jets and Joe Namath and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, which we have up there. Right there's the picture. Just so you can.
I reminded him, I met you in 1968, blah, blah, blah. Super Bowl #3, you went down to Miami. Holy cow, how do you remember that? I was a kid, it's like I was 12.
Yeah.
You're a fan when you're 12,
Yeah, and he was the biggest thing, man, right?
He was the biggest thing in football for many, many years.
I know my mom thought he was the hottest guy in the world.
He was. And, as fate would have it, his granddaughter goes to school with my daughter.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
So I see him at all the occasions there at the plays, pre-COVID,
Yeah.
There'd be a play, a concert or whatever. Hey, Joe, how you doing?
Small world.
You and I, man, we're like buddies.
And he didn't age that bad. How old is he?
No, he's probably 75.
He don't look bad for 75.
I'd say I could do the math. 1969, he was 26. So yeah, he's in that neighborhood, late 70s. He looks good.
And then Rob said that was the helicopter guy, the guy in the red.
Yeah, Johan. Yeah, Johan Hoffman. Yeah, he's a good guy.
That's got to be a tough one too.
That's amazing. You're up in a chopper every day, and some days it's not just I-95 is a little traffic jam. Some days it's life or death, and a big jam because somebody did something wrong, and a truck overturned, blew up, whatever the case may be, a fatality.
So he goes up in that chopper and he's just up there.
Yeah.
Or does he wait for the call?
No, he's up every morning. He's the traffic guy.
Wow, just up there flying around.
At a certain time, he's there. He's got to do, check out the system, go to the airport, check everything out, make sure the chopper's doing good, get together with the pilot, and go up there and wait for stuff to happen. It doesn't take long, every morning, 6:30, it's a jam.
Yeah.
On I-95.
Always.
I don't miss that, by the way.
Yeah. No, there's a crash every day. I mean, I see it, and it's not. I mean, I'm only driving it once in a while. You know what I mean? So
yeah. It's like people tell me, or used to tell me all the time. I don't watch the news because it's too negative, or you guys only report the bad news. It's like, man, that's just the way it is. We're not making the news. It's just it happens.
Right.
There's shooting. Sadly, there's people. It's cold outside, so they turn on a heater. It catches something on fire. There's a bad storm. Lightning hits. It's sad. I mean, and every day on the road, there's some accident. Somebody does something silly, and it leads to a traffic jam and sadly a death. Or sometimes it's not a death, but it affects your life. You may lose your car. You may have an injury, and you're messed up for a while.
Or sued.
Or all of the above. It's, yeah.
When they say that, like about the news, like you were saying, it's all negative, blah, blah, blah. Well, if you reported on a flower growing every day or somebody's green grass,
right?
What do you think the ratings would be?
Yeah, exactly. You just got to give it to them straight. And here's what's happening. Take it or leave it, almost, and some people are fanatical about news. As viewers, other people, they just kind of, flip channels around. Some people have their favorites and they have to watch this. Thank goodness. It kept me employed for many years. But I've become one of those that if I'm up, I'll watch it. If not, I'm like a lot of people. Just get it on your cell phone or your computer.
Yeah.
And go on with your day.
Yeah, because it will get to you.
Yeah.
I know so many people, like with everything that's going on, that they've gotten so deep in that wormhole.
Yeah,
that they don't even function correctly anymore.
Well, it's true. It's a choice. It's a choice. Sometimes it's like anything in life. You got to leave it alone.
Yeah.
Whatever it may be. You can't check your 401k every 10 minutes. It's going to be the same or roughly the same, or else you'll drive yourself crazy if the market's going south. So leave it alone. It's the same thing with news. If you follow it too intently, day to day, minute to minute, watch every newscast, oh my goodness, the world's coming to an end.
No, I know. So does Rob. But that people that we've hung out with or that I know. I mean, they literally sit there and watch it all day long. All day long.
Very loud.
Loud as can be. I know. And then after they're done watching it, then they text everybody.
Then they tell you all about it.
Tell you all about it. You got to watch this.
Ain't that America? Yeah, for you and me. That's the truth.
Then they go to YouTube. Now they just watched it on, Fox, CNN, whatever the hell it is.
Yeah.
Then they go to YouTube and send the link Now they just talked about it.
Right.
17 paragraphs like a novel.
Here, watch this for an hour.
Right. And then here's a YouTube clip that's 40 minutes on the same thing that you just, text me a novel about that I really don't care.
Right. Fast forward through the commercials. Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, there's nothing you can do. Like what are you going to do? There's nothing you can do.
No.
You get mad about certain things or upset. Okay, you watch it, you get pissed, moan, whatever, curse. Okay, then go about your day.
Go about your business.
Because
right.
I've seen it firsthand, and I'm sure you have, and Rob. When you go down that wormhole and you get into that, what do they call it? The dark. What do they call the thing with
the dark side?
Yeah, it's like not the dark net. It's like something with all the political shit.
Dark web.
No, it's the political thing. The dark,
like just conspiracy, all that, everything.
I forget the name of it.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It's I should know this from Sean, but they just go down that path and they get in there, and then that's their entire life, all day, every day.
I know.
Which, hey, if that's what you like, do it.
And many people didn't used to be that way. They've become that way, and I don't know if it's the tail wagging the dog or vice versa. Sometimes, we get too much credit as news people for doing that, for leading people there because there's so many newscasts. But I don't know if that's reality, because the news is there for you to pick and choose. It's not for you to just sit there and just watch it and get bombarded by it. That's a choice that you make as a human being. God gave you a brain, eyeballs, and the ability to walk away, and say CNN or Fox or whatever your network of choice is, you're watching this, and I don't think it's meant to be watch hour after hour after hour. You can get basically your news in an hour, a half hour in many cases, and then come back maybe in the evening and get an update. You don't have to sit there and just watch it all day. I'm not telling people how to live their life. I mean, I'm glad that the news is available for people to watch. But the reality is people watch a lot of news and they get maybe overinformed to the point that they think they're total experts in it, and they want to fight you on it all the time. And they want your opinion on it. I'm like, I don't want to give my opinion. I'm good.
Yeah. I think a lot of that's with like the social media and everything.
And I was going to say, and then it correlates with that. It all becomes engaged, what you see on TV, what you see online, and you can't get away from it.
Because like I work on a computer during the day, and I'll have it on sometimes and forget to change. It's just noise in the background.
Yeah, right.
And like you said, in 1 hour, you can figure out everything you need to know, because the next hour they're talking about the same thing that they just talked about.
Right.
Just in different, they angle it differently by words.
Sure.
But it's the same thing.
My wife many times will come home and she'll say, hey, did you hear about blah, blah, blah? I missed it because, hey, I was out fishing. I'm sorry.
Right.
I was doing laundry.
Yeah.
I'm doing something else. I don't constantly have to have it on.
Yeah, I'm surprised you even watch it at all.
Well,
after 42 years.
People used to ask me, doesn't it beat you up? You have to report that, and I would do 5.5 hours a day. And some years I did that. That's a lot of news.
That's straight reporting?
Out of your 8-hour day, you're doing, we did, 4:30 to 9. What's that, 4.5 hours? And then an hour at noon or an hour at 11 a.m.
Cut-ins.
5.5 hours. And then the cut-ins, oh my goodness.
What's the cut-ins?
Yeah, like during the Today Show or Good Morning America or whoever you're watching, every half hour there's a local cut-in for 2 or 3 minutes.
Oh, really? I've seen that.
The anchor comes up, you get a little weather, a little traffic, a little news.
Oh, yeah, like it will almost
it's another deadline. You got to get there.
It will almost be like a commercial, and then they'll say, hey, look, this is the news here, blah, 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 right?
Right, yeah.
And then they go back to you guys?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's his name? Weatherman on the Today Show. Al.
The guy who lost all the weight.
Yeah. Al Roker.
Al Roker.
He would say, now let's check what's happening in your neck of the woods.
Yeah.
That was his little catchphrase. Right.
Yeah.
4 months out of the business. I forget the guy's name. I'm serious.
So you worked 4:30 to 9:30. Now, what time did you have to get there? So wait. The show started at 4:30 a.m.?
It still does. Yeah, I mean, just because I'm not there doesn't mean it doesn't go on.
I thought you meant you got up at 4:30.
No.
What time did you get up?
When I first got here, a little history lesson. I got here in 94, okay? So they paired Roxanne and me up. At that time, they had just moved from a half-hour newscast, 6:30 in the morning until 7, 6 to 7. So, oh, my goodness, it's an hour. Now we need a co-anchor. So I came along, and I used to work with Roxanne years ago in Chattanooga, Tennessee. We worked 1988 and 89 in Tennessee.
So, John, you were at St. Petersburg in 79. Then
Right,
you were
right.
in Georgia. Then you were in
Yes.
Tennessee.
Savannah, Chattanooga,
Jesus. Then you were,
Macon, Georgia.
then you were in, and then you were in Fort Myers. How was Fort Myers?
Fort Myers, great. Fort Myers is
It's a nice area.
Nice area.
Yeah.
Great place to visit.
Yeah.
Actually, I mean, I grew up on the East Coast in Miami. I came back kicking and screaming. You get used to, and you live in places like Chattanooga and where else? Macon. Macon I wasn't so crazy about, but
Why not?
Savannah, it's just
Boring?
the middle of the state. You've got Atlanta, and then you've got the rest of Georgia,
yeah.
you know. And Augusta's great in March, you know, or April for the Masters, and then, you know, it goes
After
back
that.
to being Augusta.
Yeah.
Savannah is a nice looking town. You know, it's pretty. You got the water, blah, blah, blah. And so that was nice, but I was there for like a cup of coffee, 1 year and 4 months, I believe. And you get your experience and you move on. You know, that's the whole game. You know, get to some place, make some money, get some experience, go make some more money. And that's basically what I tried to do. Sometimes it didn't work out that way, but so I jumped around like a lot of people do. And I was fortunate to be able to do it just in the Southeast. You know, I was, grew up in Florida and came back to Florida. So,
Yeah, you didn't have to go all over the place to do
right.
it.
Yeah, I mean, I've worked with people that have worked in Yakima, Washington, Spokane, and they're from here. You know, they're way over there. And how do you get home for Christmas, let's say? You don't.
And is that, now when you're bouncing around like that, is that kind of to build, because this is before.
Yeah,
to
a
build
resume, a track
like a
record.
portfolio to finally get somewhere where you can just stay put.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I honestly, I don't know how it is anymore as far as looking for a job. I assume it's the same way, just maybe with a link. In the old days, you physically had to put it on a tape, take it to the, post office or the airport, and send it on Cargo Express to get there overnight.
Really? Wait, so
Yeah.
what'd you have to do? So when you went to apply for a news job,
Yeah.
you'd have to record yourself.
Right. Well,
Or
you
you'd have
put together stories that
Yeah.
you did last week, last year, whatever you're proud of.
Okay.
Unless the news director that you were applying to his or her station would say, just give me something from yesterday or the day before. And then some anchor samples if you were going for an anchor position. So, you usually had a few in the can that you were proud of, that you didn't kick too many words,
Yeah.
not too many bloopers. You can send that. And that's the way it is. That's like your resume tape.
And then you would send that VHS tape.
Well, I would send it in 3/4 inch in those days before VHS.
I don't even know what that is. Is that little tiny one?
No, it's a big one.
Really?
We're going old school, Jack.
I don't know. That's
John's
before my
been in the
time.
business for a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, I've seen every format.
So what's it called?
It was 3/4 inch.
Is that like an 8-track?
Like that. Only it wasn't.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
It's
sound like a complete retard right now. but
no,
yeah.
no. If you're not in the business, that's not what you dealt with.
Yeah.
Things have evolved so much. I mean, you sit down to edit. You don't edit tape anymore. Before you had back and forth with tape. Now it's all a link. It's all online.
How'd they do it with the tape? How did they edit with the tape?
Magic.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
that had to have taken forever.
Yeah, you have one deck here, and this is what you're putting it onto. So you shot your field tape here in no particular order. You went out to shoot a story. You shot 10 minutes of video, 3 minutes worth of interview. You pick your sound bites the same way that you do now, except now you do it, it's all digital. And then you would say, okay, that's a good opening shot. Put this soundbite here. The stand-up that I did, they're cleaning up the beach here in Juno Beach, and, they've got 2 tons of trash that they found. Insert stand up here, and you go that way, and then, okay, now another track.
Yeah.
And some more video. There's your
That
minute
sounds
and a
like
half story.
Yeah, all that for a minute and a half.
Right. Nowadays, some guy like Rob can edit in 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Those days
He's got to get that M1.
took a while. Yeah, right.
Now they got this new Apple chip. It's insanely fast.
Wow.
It's really fast. They're making their own chips now. So
Things have gotten fast.
so now, like when you do this kind of stuff, I don't know what the news uses. They don't use Final Cut, do they?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh shit. Okay, so like when you use Final Cut on like an Intel chip, it takes forever. This M1 thing is ridiculous.
Wow.
It's 16 minutes versus an hour and 20 minutes just to export it. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's life. That's it evolves. And that's the way. That's how come. I mean, news has evolved like crazy. It's gotten so fast that you almost do the story before you are there as a reporter. It's almost like that is the mindset now. You've got an idea of what the story is going to be about, and you got to feed Facebook, you got to feed Instagram, you got to feed Twitter. You got to get stuff on there. And so basically you're saying we're on our way to the story. This is what's going on. Where in the old days, you went out, got the story, you got all your facts, balanced the story the best you could. You still go for balance, but...
Did you just say facts?
Yes.
Mr. Stone, he just said facts.
We try to stay to the facts, right? And then put it together, and it was the 5 o'clock news. Well, now you've got to have reporters out there at 4:30 in the morning, reporting live, updating the story throughout the day on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatever else. And then the news. And then there's the news that you're doing from 4:30 to 9 in our case, because I still say our, but it was NBC and Fox 29. So it was Channel 5 and 29 together. So it's 2 separate newscasts for 4.5 hours, and then the noon show, or now the 11 a.m. show, the 4 p.m., the 5 p.m., the 5:30, the 6.
And you're there for all that?
I wasn't there for all that. No, you kind of do it in shifts,
Yeah.
I was the early
Well,
shift.
I don't know how much they work you. I don't know how much they try to get out of you before you fall over.
They did quite a bit sometimes, yeah.
But I got to know, so when it starts at 4:30, what time are you parking in that parking
In that
lot?
park, in the old days, I used to be real good about getting there at 3, because we didn't have many people putting it together. And then as you start adding executive producers and a producer for this half hour and that half hour and an assistant, and as the budget gets better, okay, I can cheat and not get up at 2. I can get up at 2:30, and I can come in at 3, now 3:30, and then 4. By the time I stopped doing the 4:30 news, I would slide in about 10 after 4. Just enough time to put on makeup, find out what's going on.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Any guess? Yeah. Okay, fine. And just go. And I hate to use the word wing it, because you're actually relatively prepared. And while the guy's doing 10 million minutes of weather, every 5 minutes you're doing weather, you can read. I don't need that much weather in my life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Is it going to rain? Oh, good. It's 80 degrees and partly cloudy. I'm good. No offense, but that's, some people are real weather hounds. I just need to find out,
You only need to hear it once, right?
Yeah. I hear it once or twice just to be able to make chit chat with the weather person.
Yeah.
And, while they're doing their weather and there's 3 minutes of commercials, that's a lot of time to, read ahead.
So you didn't have prompts?
We had the prompter, and we had, computers, so you can get in there and fix it to your liking. Unless you're feeding Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, which a lot of times we were. So you're, on your cell phone or computer trying to do that. But a lot of times, you had ample opportunity to update a story or make it sound more like how you would read it.
So like when I'm watching in the morning, they got to have prompts up now, right? That are scrolling through that.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
I mean, there's no way in hell they could.
That's the world.
Memorize
That's
all
the
that.
world today. Yeah. And it's been like that forever. The prompters have gotten better with computers. So it's instantaneous. It used to be in the old days a paper prompter taped together with Scotch tape as it went through, and words were scratched out.
Now would they hang it, or
What
you'd have
the heck does that say?
Oh, they would hang it in front of you.
No, they ran in front of the camera. The same way
shit.
that they do now, except now it's a lot more legit.
Yeah, because they got monitors that are
Right.
slow at your pace to read.
Right. Before it's a combination of mirrors.
Holy
It's still mirrored, but mirrored with a piece of paper that sometimes didn't fit under that prompter machine, and it'd go scrunch, and you see it scrunching right in front of you. You're like, oh, what do I say now?
So,
Where am I here on my script?
so as the camera's on you and your script just got mangled by the
Demolished.
dog, what do you do? Just
Teacher, the
wing
dog
it.
ate my homework.
Yeah, that's when you wing it.
Yeah,
right?
hopefully you've kept up.
Like read a little bit of it
Yeah,
prior to going on.
Well, and you have a script in front of you.
Okay.
So hopefully, you're not on page 2 and you lost your place in class. Hold on, teacher,
Has that ever happened to you?
Yeah, it's happened. And so you just kind of do the best you can with it. Hopefully you know enough about the story to tap dance through it. Luckily, it didn't happen too often.
Yeah.
But it happened often enough that when it's happening to you, you feel the sweat coming out.
Yeah. It's just like, if I didn't have bad luck, I'd have no luck at all.
No luck at
That's
all.
the feeling I would
I'll
have.
tell you, I get no respect at all.
Yeah. And then, I just try to swing through the punches and get through it.
Right.
So
a lot of that.
So now you were done at 9:30. Now, do you get a break at that point?
At 9. Yeah. Well, yeah. When I did all that, what is a break? You got to get ready for another hour newscast that comes on at 11 in the morning. So you eat a little something or take a little walk.
Yeah.
Sit at your computer, feed the beast of, Facebook and Instagram and, Twitter. Talk and get through it. Next thing you know, it's time for the 11 o'clock news. And so there went another hour. The beauty of it is that you're done by noon.
It's over.
Yeah. So
What time do you have to go to bed, though?
many times 8, 9 o'clock, and it still wasn't enough sleep.
Yeah.
It's hard to go to bed at 8. A lot of this happened when I was, having a kid. So when the kid went to bed, I tried to go to bed. But then, you have time with your wife. Hey, we can watch TV, like, adult TV, and not dirty stuff, just stuff that.
You guys sitting around watching porno? You could tell me. You're retired now. Nobody cares.
No, does anybody listen? No. It's just, clean fun, but, or wash dishes.
Yeah.
You got to do something,
Yeah. What else you got to do, right?
Right. But, fortunately, we were able to shut down the house many times at 9. But 9 to 2, 9 to 3, it's still not enough sleep.
So if you're lucky, you're getting 5.
Yeah.
More like 4 probably by the time you actually fall asleep.
I'm not alone, Rob. You know this. I mean, this is the way it is. If you're involved with your kid and your kid's playing sports or your kid's, in ballet or your kid's got an activity or just life. I mean, life is built around you've got to go to so-and-so's birthday party. It happens to be on a Thursday night. Well, tell him I can't go. How many times can you do that before, hey, John hates us,
Yeah.
Most of the time people understand, but you get going on a Sunday barbecue that starts at 5. Next thing you know, hey, it's 8 o'clock. I got to get out of here. The Super Bowl's on. It starts at 6:30, for goodness sake.
Sucks.
I got to watch till at least halftime. Oh, I got to watch the halftime entertainment. So, you go to bed 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, wake up the next day exhausted, try to take a nap.
42 years of that, huh?
Yeah, well, 26 of it here.
Yeah.
Before I moved here, I never did early morning.
What were you doing before?
It was always either 3 to 11.
That's
that
a shitty.
shift.
That's a shitty.
Well,
shift
but
too.
that's the shift that it is sometimes.
Which one would you rather have?
If not for the lack of sleep, I'd say mornings because it fits better into your life than getting home at midnight.
Yeah, because that 3 to 11 just kills
Right.
dead.
Right. I have found that I've worked every schedule, and you acclimate. You figure out the best way that it works for you. I worked 4 years of weekends, being the weekend anchor at 6 and 11 p.m. My days off were Monday and Tuesday. I mean, what do you do Monday and Tuesday?
Yeah.
But at least it affords you an opportunity. In those days I was single, you go out with your buddies from work, shoot pool, drink beer, and, stay out till 3 in the morning. And you can wake up the next day, do it again. Go work, do the same thing. You can sleep it off Monday and Tuesday, have fun, run to the grocery store or mail stuff, when you had to go to the post office.
Things that you couldn't do the other
Yeah,
5
exactly.
days of the week.
Yeah, so you do that, and you get used to it. At least I think the only shift I'd never worked was, like our producers. They'd come in. They have it tough. They come in, and when you're an early morning producer, you actually come in at 10 or 11 at night, depending on if you're the 4:30. Your newscast is at 4:30, and you're producing that newscast. You better get in there at 10 o'clock if you can to start writing, to gather the information because you're the leadoff batter, right? You're 4:30, you're starting it off, and everybody else is copying and pasting off you or, cheating in essence.
So they're in there at 10 to be ready for 4:30.
Yeah. And the 5 o'clock guy, usually 11, the 6 a.m. guy, maybe, midnight you can get away with it. But if you're diligent, you get in there at night and you're working that overnight shift. So, you have no life. At least I was able to have some semblance of
I couldn't do
an
that.
existence.
I mean, if I had to, I would. but
Right. I mean, that's what people always say. Oh, I'd never be able to do
no,
that.
no. If I had to do it,
You
I
do
would
what you
do it.
gotta
But I
do.
mean, nobody wants to do it. I don't.
Listen,
think.
I was unemployed for a while, and I would watch CNN, and I'd watch this guy come on at 3 a.m, and I thought, I could do that. You know,
Yeah.
I'm better than that guy. You know, you compare, and think, yeah, what time does he have to get up? You know, what's his life like?
His ass is up probably
Right.
midnight.
He was, yeah. I mean, he was the 3 to 7 a.m. anchor. You
Yeah.
know? So
The worst was when you'd go to bed at 11 o'clock and you'd get the call. I'd just lay down.
yeah.
And the phone would go off. Breaking news. We
Right.
need you to come in at
Now.
midnight, 1 o'clock. I'd be like,
Right.
I just went to bed.
Ah.
What?
How long did you deal with that for, Rob?
I did that down here for, I did it for 3 years. I left and I went to the consumer watchdog department.
Yeah,
And
but
then
you were
and then
still working in TV news.
And then I came back to the mornings again. So
Yeah.
Probably 5 years.
There's
Both of them don't sound fun. That call as soon as you get to sleep and you get settled. Ugh.
Listen, I told you when I had Monday and Tuesday off, so they thought nothing of calling me on. Well, John's off.
Yeah.
Let's bring him in. Oh, God.
I turned that son of a bitch
I was
off.
up till
is what I
3
did.
drinking margaritas. Come on.
You really
Give a
want
guy
me
a
in?
break.
Yeah, how do you clean up that quick, right?
Yeah, right.
Well, it might be a little sloppy.
Right.
Well, at least you
We'll
crack-
take it.
Yeah, well, at least-
You're a pro. I am? Okay.
You could crack some jokes that would probably
Yeah,
be pretty funny.
You do what you got to do.
Yeah, like you said. Now you wanted to get into sports and all that.
Yeah,
How
now
the
we're
hell?
going full circle. What
Yeah.
happened to sports? We started talking about sports. I was a sports editor in high school, 11th and 12th grade.
So
Now-
how the hell did you end up in news?
Well, you start doing, 2 and 2 and it doesn't add up. I think, in those days I was, kind of thinking, well, either I'll be a DJ because that sounded like a cool thing. And at Miami-Dade College, I was doing radio and TV/TV news broadcasting sequence. So it was all fun. It's a lot of hands-on stuff. I love sports and I love music. So it was a combination of the two. I could go either way. I'll do that. But my love was sports. So I thought, I could write for the Miami Herald, and that'd be fun. Somewhere along the line when I was making $2.55 an hour part-time, running camera in St. Petersburg, 20 hours a week, driving from Tampa to St. Pete and back, 38 miles each way, for $2.55 an hour with a college degree. I decided,
And he's saying $2.55 an hour, by the way, for those who are watching.
$2.55, not $250.
Yeah.
Exactly. It was like no money, and seeing that there were 2 sports guys, and then the newsroom had 8 or 10 reporters and several anchors. I thought, there's more longevity there. There's more job opportunity. Let sports be your fun thing and let news be your work thing. And I think that's the way that I kind of thought about it. And keep in mind, we're talking 1970-something, 79. So in those days, you didn't even have the volume of news you have now. You had a half hour at 6, a half hour at 11. If you were lucky, you had some kind of morning newscast or a 15-minute newscast. And some stations had noon shows. But for the most part, noon shows consisted of a little news and then, some kid, local guy singing or something, it wasn't news as we know it today, hardcore.
Yeah. And back then there was actually newspapers that were delivered.
Right, yeah.
So you got your news there. So
Man,
really
you were
didn't-
competing with newspapers.
Yeah.
Now, I picked up a real newspaper the other day. It's thin.
Yeah.
It's thin.
I like it. See, I like to read. I don't like to read on the phone. I like the actual. I like
Me
to
too.
sit there
Me too.
with a cup of coffee and the newspaper.
Right.
The paper.
The paper.
I'm
Get
aged
some
to it.
ink on your hands.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah.
I don't like it. But now you have to. But now you got to compete with social media and the internet and everything
Right,
else. I mean,
right.
that's
It's gotten very, very difficult. So anyway, long story short, I got away from the sports reporting and still love sports and can, talk sports with most people. I don't follow it as much as I used to diligently, like know every player on every team, Philadelphia Eagles. But, or even the Dolphins for that matter. I mean, I grew up, loving the Dolphins. So,
You think Brady's the GOAT?
yeah. Yeah.
Are There you go.
Yeah,
So
I mean, you could argue.
No, I ask everybody. I ask everybody that's in
Yeah.
sports that because you don't think he is, right, Rob?
How can you
Well,
not,
it's-
Rob? You're an
Yeah.
intelligent
Will you have a talk with him, John?
Yeah, I need to.
Is he
You
the
need a
GOAT?
spanking.
If we go by Super Bowl wins, yes, he's
No.
the GOAT. I still like Joe Montana as the GOAT.
Well,
I do too,
You're
but
paid.
nobody's throwing a ball. He got crushed this year. He got hit more times this year than I think he got added up all together through his entire
Yeah.
career. Gets to the Super Bowl with a new team, and he's throwing bullets
yeah.
in the fourth quarter. Perfect spiral bullets.
Listen, if he didn't win the Super Bowl this year, you would have thought, well, it's a new team. The guy won the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
And it wasn't like he was playing a shit team.
a new system, right? Exactly. The defending champs. I mean,
that quarter, what's his name? I always forget his name.
Pat
Mahomes. Yeah. I mean, and he made him look like a little boy.
right? Well, it's just the difference between a guy with 2-3 years experience and a guy with way too much experience. I mean, this guy, nobody's done that. Nobody's done that.
The fourth quarter when he really, went nuts, and I was, the way he was throwing that ball, I mean,
Right.
bullets.
I know. Think of how many great quarterbacks have been really washed up, or we make excuses for them, or maybe next year, or well, he's getting old, 36, 37, even with good nutrition, better training, better whatever, than in the old days. But usually that arm's taking a beating, and your body by the time you're 36, 37.
Because
This
he's
guy's
42, right?
43.
43. Jeez.
And he's coming back for 2 more years,
Yeah.
he says. But, even Peyton Manning, I mean, an injury. Joe Montana, an injury. He came back from that injury, but, you're probably never the same. You're probably always, flinch a little bit.
You have to. You would have to, just natural
A
instinct.
300-pound guy comes at you, it hurts.
Well, he got hit this year. He got hit this year, boy.
Yeah.
They better get somebody on the right for him
Right.
next year.
It's,
Well, they started to. They moved somebody over. But he was the first. Remember them when they were losing early? I watched him, and I couldn't believe that was Tom Brady getting hit
Right.
because I never seen him get hit.
yeah, well.
And he wasn't getting hit.
Usually-
he was getting
he
clobbered.
used to have a clean uniform when he played
Yeah.
at New England.
Well, about the first 6 games of the year, it wasn't clean.
No, I mean, he got whooped. I mean, it
got
was a
whooped.
whole learning curve there. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We're not in Kansas anymore.
And I bet you he went right upstairs and I bet you he said, "Look, you better get somebody here on the
bigger,
right and
bigger
the left.
fellas.
I don't care. Take it out of my check. I don't care who it is.
That's it. That's
Get
it.
him in front of me. Get me Mike Gronkowski. Get me
Right.
Antonio Brown.
Legitimately, he probably should have been making $40 million. If quarterbacks that are real good are making 25, 35, he probably should have been up here. But he's never made that. I think he's making $25 million, which isn't chump change, but it's not GOAT money.
I think he does that so that they put money into the players.
Well, he's got a wife that makes a pretty good
Yeah,
salary.
I think she makes more than him.
Absolutely.
Yeah. What does she? She just does like clothing.
Supermodel. Yeah. He's a Super Bowl. She's a supermodel. Has more money in supermodeling.
Yeah.
But, they're doing okay. It's like the argument can be made while we're talking sports. Michael Jordan, LeBron James. Come on.
Yeah.
But where's Kareem Abdul-Jabbar in the conversation? I mean, the guy only scored 38,000 points or something.
Yeah.
So
So he was before my time, but I don't see anybody better than
that's
Jordan.
just it. He's pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but if I can't give an opinion on him because I've never seen him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just
Right,
like little tape. But who do you think's the best?
Michael Jordan.
Yeah. I don't know anybody better than him.
I mean, I love LeBron James too.
Yeah.
He played with the Heat. I cheered him on. He's very good, but it's just hard to go against Michael Jordan, having seen him and what he did, how he elevated the team.
I think the
Amazing.
closest was Kobe. I think Kobe
Kobe was
Bryant was the
remarkable,
closest.
yeah.
I think he was the closest to Jordan
Yeah.
because LeBron, he's good, but he's not that like you give him the ball with 5 seconds left, you're kind of like
Maybe.
there's a 90% chance he's probably gonna miss it.
Right. Well,
You give it to Jordan, there's like a 99% chance
he's going to
gonna
score.
hit it.
All right.
Give it to Kobe, you got a 90%.
Yeah.
I think LeBron's afraid to miss, and then the media just crushes him.
It's a lot of pressure on him.
Yeah.
But
But there was a lot of pressure on the other guys too.
Sure.
But they didn't give a shit.
No, right. And Jordan was building that program.
Yeah.
He was the guy that invented, what is he, 6-0?
Yeah.
Wasn't it 6 titles?
Yeah.
Wow.
Never lost.
You know, so LeBron, as good as he is, he's lost a few. So people always point at that. I don't know that that's fair because it is a team sport.
Right.
You know, if you lose by 4 or 5 points, is it just your fault?
See, I judge it because I don't see that killer instinct in LeBron. I saw it in Kobe.
Mm-hmm.
It was in Jordan. He was nuts. You know, but other than Kobe and Jordan, I don't see anybody with that killer instinct.
Yeah,
You know, like
yeah.
just that look where
Consistently, yeah. It's very,
consistently.
Yeah. You know, yeah, it's just tough.
I like basketball too, and I'm unfortunately 5'9" too. My grandfather was
That's what
like
happened,
6'6".
yeah.
I get 5'9".
I ended up being 5'11" and a half, you know, so, you know, yeah, I could have been a forward, right? You know?
Yeah, right. No.
I mean, when I watch these guys, they're 6'3", and they're the little guys.
yeah,
And then every once in a while you get a, you know, Allen Iverson. What was he, 6'1", you know,
Yeah.
with his sneakers on, you know,
Yeah.
'cause I doubt he was 6 foot, you know.
yeah. I met
so
him. I
many
met
of
him a few times. Yeah, he was only a little bit taller than me. I mean, I'm 5'9", and he wasn't much taller than
An
me.
amazing player.
Amazing player, but he just
At
got wrapped up.
160 pounds, man.
Yeah.
You know, that's tough. Going inside.
If he wouldn't have went the wrong way,
Yeah.
he now he had the killer instinct. He
Right,
did.
Right.
He did.
Right.
Remember when he played the Lakers? I was in Mexico at the time
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
when it was the Lakers
Wow.
and the Sixers.
Yeah.
I was in Mexico watching that game, and I went to a restaurant there. And I was in Puerto Vallarta,
Nice.
and I went back to eat, or I went to get a nice dinner. It was
Yeah.
like a really nice place to eat, and I went back to go to the bathroom, and I ordered chicken. Fucking live chicken's right back there.
Right there. They just pluck them and serve them.
They just it's because it was a high end restaurant.
Wow.
And they just kill the damn thing right there and then feed it to you. And I'm not used to that shit.
Jeez.
So I walked by to go to the bathroom and I looked and I said, all these chickens, I see them ripping them out, like going to put them on the thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, I'll take a salad.
Yeah.
And I'm watching the game, but I'm like, I don't know about all
With
you
one
know,
eye, you're
yeah.
watching the game. The other eye is watching.
But after
the
being
chicken.
there for 3 days, I said, the hell with it, kill the thing, just give it to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
When in Mexico, do as the Mexicans do.
But Iverson was
Puerto Vallarta.
beast. Yeah, Puerto Vallarta.
Yeah,
Beautiful
yeah.
place. Beautiful place.
Iverson was an amazing player. Yeah. The answer. He was
Yeah,
something.
that's right. Yeah. And he had a big shoe deal. Messed it all up at the.
Everything. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like, you know, you wish you could trade places with these guys for their career and have some sense, but
Too bad he didn't have like a good manager around him.
Right.
Because I did forget about him. He did have that look,
right.
and he just went.
I
Nuts.
wonder how he trained, because you see like the workout that Jordan used to do, and LeBron kills himself. Kobe, the demand of himself and everybody around him. I mean, he didn't like Shaq because Shaq is Shaq.
Yeah.
Yeah, give me the ball, boom. You know.
Yeah.
Shoot free throws, but clank. You know, no, that's the way it is. You know.
Remember they interviewed him and you know they were yelling because Kobe wouldn't give him the ball.
Right.
And Kobe's like, "Well, work. You know,
Yeah.
like work,
Right.
box." And then he didn't box out to get in
Right.
the right position. Then Kobe didn't give him the ball. I mean, he fucked with him like crazy.
I know.
You remember that?
Yeah, sure.
I mean, that happened like game after game after
These
game.
guys, they did not get along.
He'd stand there and he'd be like, because I used to have 4 seats for the Lakers for 1 year,
Oh wow.
and I didn't get to see Shaq. This was at the end of his career.
After, yeah.
But when I was watching, I would watch and I'd see him like say box out, and he'd hold the ball just like a dick
Wow.
and wait for him. And if he wasn't working for that ball,
Ain't
he'd
ain't
kick
gonna
off.
get it.
Nope. It was funny to watch.
That is funny.
And then they get in fights, and he talked about his girl, that whole girl thing, crazy.
Mm-mm-mm. Well, there was a lot of animosity between them, but when I say I never saw what Allen Iverson's workout was like,
Yeah.
for all I know,
I don't think he worked out.
For all I know, this guy just played pickup games and
I think he
did his thing.
drank beer and smoked blunts.
Well, yeah,
He was just a natural.
you
monster.
never heard that, Chris Paul, he works hard,
Yeah.
and you have to the older you get. And now he's like one of the elder statesmen,
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
probably 35, 36.
I think Iverson has, if I'm correct, the most points average scored against Jordan career-wise.
Wow.
Of any player.
Well, he was so
Like-
quick.
Like
Google that.
I believe.
Yeah, he was quick.
He could get past most people and take it inside, but the big guys would go boom.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you get to the free throw line, but once you start turning 31, 32, and you've gotten boom too many times, you're not going to go inside.
Father time gets
Yeah,
you.
you say forget it. You've lost that step that you used to have on it. I mean, it happens to everybody. Happened to
think-
D Wade. I mean, my
Yeah.
goodness.
Oh, yeah.
That guy had a quick first step, and then after a while, even the Heat wouldn't pay him.
Yeah.
And then eventually came back, and he was, again, the elder statesman there playing part-time just to do his time and go out and go into the Hall of Fame and go into announcing. But
I mean, D Wade's good, but when he first came in the league, I thought he was going to blow the league apart.
Yeah.
I mean, he was still really, really good, but he kind of plateaued a little.
Hall of Fame, but he's not up there. When you think of the best, like the 10 best, he's not one of the ones.
Right.
But I mean, I love his
But
game.
remember his rookie year?
Yeah.
I mean, he looked like he was going to be
Yeah.
the one.
Right. Well, in one season, he averaged 30-something.
Yeah.
He was very good. Took them to the championship when Shaq was old in 06, I think it was.
Yeah.
Shaq was just kind of, hey, man, you're just taking up time and space. Pull a Kobe on him. I got the ball. Come on, box out. Hit a free throw every once in a while.
Yeah.
I can't find that, but I found the points per game career. Iverson's 26.7, Jordan's 30.1. So, I mean, you're talking,
Yeah. 3.5 points. I mean, that's
for about that.
a little guy like that.
Yeah. And definitely didn't have the hands that Jordan had. His hands were
Huge. Yeah.
huge.
Yeah.
Huge hands.
Wow. But, you see 32,000 points there by, Jordan, and then you have, I can't remember exactly Kareem, but it was like 38,000 points.
Yeah.
I mean, that is a ton of
Yeah,
points.
but how many points did Kareem have?
Like 38,000. And then there's Karl Malone. I mean,
Yeah.
remember the mailman? I mean,
the mailman.
he never
Yeah.
took a back seat. He was tough all the way around.
Yeah.
I don't know how good he would have been if he didn't have Stockton, because Stockton just
Stockton was
made
good.
him what he was, to a certain 38,000. Yeah.
And then how many points did Jordan and
32,000 for Jordan.
so
Iverson, 27 and change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean it's still a ton of points.
Can LeBron pass Kareem in points? Probably will happen, because I think he is hard-headed enough, LeBron, that he's going to make it happen. He wants to play until Bronny, his son, plays.
Yeah, right there he's at 3. So LeBron's he's gonna get
he'll
You see, Malone's right there knocking on
Yeah.
the door.
Holy shit.
Like 1,500 points,
wow,
1,400.
he's got more points than Jordan.
Yeah.
So you got Kareem, Karl Malone, LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, Jordan, Dirk. Yeah, Dirk, he scored a lot too.
Iverson's 25th.
See, when I was a kid, Wilt was the measuring stick, right? I mean,
Yeah.
Wilt was the guy. And technically, he could have kept on playing.
Yeah.
I mean, his last season, he was still averaging 15, 18 rebounds, and they were winning championships, but he was 36 or whatever. That's enough.
Carmelo Anthony's on there. Wow.
Ray Allen, too.
Well, he was good quick, and then he.
Yeah. Right.
Well, Ray Allen can shoot from half court and make it.
John Havlicek.
Reggie Miller. too.
Hondo Havlicek, yeah.
Who the hell is that? I don't
John
know.
Havlicek,
Celtics. His family, he lives
number 17. Yeah, he lived in Jupiter. He died recently.
Sorry to hear that.
Nice
I can't
guy.
believe Karl Malone's number 2. Wow. Yeah, LeBron's he's gonna. beat
Yeah.
that.
Oh, yeah.
So what do you think he's gonna play until his kid's ready to go?
I think that's what he said, that, if he's still healthy enough and all that, which would make him maybe 39 or 40.
His kid's really good.
Yeah, apparently.
You think he'll make it another 3 years?
Yeah, maybe not the LeBron we know that
Yeah.
can win a game for you, that can score 20-something points consistently a season. But wouldn't you take LeBron at 15 points and 6 rebounds,
Yeah.
playing 20 minutes a game, 24 minutes? I would.
You can even use him as like a disguise. But I don't think he would do it just because he wouldn't want to lower his averages.
Could
They say they don't care, but they care.
I know. Well, look at Kobe. I mean, he kept on going as hard as he could, but he basically took down the Lakers.
Yeah.
They stunk for a few years because he was making all the money and they couldn't afford anybody else, and
Yeah.
he had to get his points.
Exactly. And I think he came back too quick from that Achilles. I think he should have
Right.
waited. That was too quick.
Right.
I mean, he ripped that thing. Went and shot 2 foul shots and made him. How about that shit?
Right.
Not many guys could do that.
He was an amazing
And then
player.
walked back.
Right. Very sad.
But he came back. Yeah, that was
Very sad
I
what
really
happened
liked
to him.
Kobe a lot.
And we went right there from Kobe's death right into COVID. So then that took over
Yeah.
the conversation. It wasn't until a year later that, people were, okay, Kobe again, because such a big event happened after Kobe's death, which was as huge as an event
Yeah.
gets. But a
Terrible.
pandemic is affects everybody in the world,
Yeah.
not just the sports world or not just fans, basketball diehard fans.
And he had just had a daughter too.
Right.
A new daughter.
yeah,
Fuck.
yeah,
That's
it's
tough.
awful.
And a rough way to go too.
I know.
Yeah. Shame.
So you have him right there.
Yep. That's my guy.
Very nice.
Shame.
See, so somehow we end up talking sports anyways. So,
Yeah. So now now in retirement, you're getting your sports reporter, right?
all my buddies, they're all sports fans.
Yeah.
We all grew up. I hang out with a bunch of guys, or if we don't hang out, we hang out whenever we can.
Yeah.
We all grew up in Miami. Now everybody's going different places. Atlanta, some of them are in Broward. So, it's still in the neighborhood. But, we get together and, with texting and what have you, phone call here and there. They're all major sports fans. They're still like we're 15 years old.
Yeah.
I'm not, and they know all the players. They're in gambling stuff, and I'm not, so.
I got a friend who's
Makes
got
it
like
different.
a boiler room.
Right.
he's got
They're
like
drafting people.
Yeah. It's like that fantasy shit.
Right.
And I mean, literally has like a boiler. He's retired, and it's like a boiler room of like 3 old guys, and they're just sitting there trying to, calculate.
That's great.
It's fucking
Where
cool.
was that stuff when I was like
Yeah.
18? I would have devoured that.
Yeah.
But for me, it was Sports Illustrated, the sporting news, Sport Magazine, Dick Schaap, that kind of stuff.
Well, they got online gambling now.
Yeah,
It's
right.
legal.
It's
So
a
now,
whole
now,
different
now you just
ballgame.
set, now you just set the world on fire. Now,
Yeah. I got to, have a little mad money on the side. Just a couple of hundred.
Yeah.
1,000. No, I wish.
And ends up that way, right?
Yeah, that's what you want to avoid,
Yeah. Jordan got himself in quite some debt.
But he could do it, He's
wow.
worth a ton of money. Can you believe that?
gotta pay it, though.
He gets $100 million a year from Nike.
Yeah, I can.
Oh my God!
But people,
In his career, he made less than $100 million.
yeah, he made more with Nike than
in
his
1
career.
year.
But John, these guys to this day, when those retro shoes come out,
Right.
there's a line from here to
yeah.
to the moon.
To pay a lot of money, I know.
I mean, he's definitely making it for him.
Yeah,
And then he's
for
got,
sure.
he had Carmelo under him. He signed him.
Right.
He signed, who's the guy that was with, he's really good. He was with the Heat, and then he was with the Bulls, Chicago Bulls. Butler, I think. Jimmy Butler.
Jimmy Butler. Now with the Heat, yeah.
Yeah, he signed
right,
Jimmy
right,
Butler.
yeah,
He
yeah.
signed Anthony Davis.
Why
That's a
not?
big one.
Right.
So now he's getting a kick from all that, So that $100 million is really a deal for Nike when you think about it.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
That's right. Yeah, the college football has the Jordan
Michigan
sign.
has
Right.
them, I think.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
And he's sitting there hitting the golf ball, betting 20,000 a hole, 25,000 a hole,
Smoking a cigar, having fun.
and then doesn't pay the bet. Great move, pal.
I know.
That didn't work out so good last time.
That's the way it goes.
Yeah.
But you can't fault somebody for making that kind of money if you're making a big return for your
Yeah.
boss.
Yeah.
That's great. His first contract was something that was ridiculous for the time in '85. I mean, the guy was, just out of college, and it was like $500,000.
Yeah.
And it was, remember, it was, must be the shoes, with Mars Blackman,
Yeah.
with
Because
Spike
it was
Lee.
his second year when they came out. They really went with the shoes, right?
Right.
Yeah. And who was that dick who he messed the whole team? Jerry Krause.
Jerry.
That prick. They probably if they wouldn't have got
You saw the special on Netflix.
yeah. I hated him even when I was watching.
I hear you. I know.
They probably could have won 2 more.
Too much ego, man. Too much
Because he
ego.
hated that Phil Jackson was getting the
Right,
credit, and
right.
Jordan was getting the credit. But Phil Jackson's a beast.
I know.
I mean,
he's
he's the
best coach.
Best
yeah,
coach I've
yeah.
ever. I mean, he's awesome.
Even though you had the team, it's a lot to keep all those guys together,
Yeah.
playing with that same concept, the triangle offense. Michael's going to be the guy. I'm sorry, Pippen. That's the way it's going to be.
And he did the same thing with the Lakers.
Center by committee, exactly. Yeah.
And he brought over. If you ever noticed when Phil went to different places, when it was Chicago, who did he have? It was him, Tex Winters,
Right.
and the other guy.
Right.
It was 3 of them. So every team, the Lakers and the Bulls, he had the same circle of people.
He didn't get too far away. He didn't
Nope.
stray too far from what got you there.
Yep,
You got to
kept his
dance with
zen
the one who
going.
brung you.
Kept his zen.
That's it.
Zen
That's
master.
it. Yeah. Read this book. There might be a quiz.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, he'd light candlesticks and go around,
Right.
calmed everybody down.
But then he became the head honcho for the Knicks. and
he just,
that didn't go so well.
he should have. He's a coach.
He went for the money.
Yeah, he went for the money. He's a coach, not a NBA. What'd they put him at?
GM, president, king. I don't know. It was,
He's got to be on the floor
Right.
or in his house sitting on the couch with his wife.
right.
Genie bus.
Yeah. Are they married or are they just dating? I mean, I think he's like a serial dater.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know.
He doesn't need the money, but
Are they married?
I don't know.
Look up and see if Phil Jackson's married. I like Phil Jackson a lot. That's why.
Yeah. Well, I like him too.
Anyway.
I like him too. One of the all-time really, and and I remember when he played with the Knicks.
Yeah.
He looked like he had a clothes hanger in his jersey. I mean, he was like a
He looked like he was.
gangly
I was
guy.
just gonna say when I watched it, he looked like he was 90 pounds, soaking wet,
Right.
lanky as hell.
Right.
And then you see him when he was coaching. Early on he had like the stash and
Yeah.
everything.
They're not together anymore.
But then he got bigger.
Oh no. It's over.
What?
It's over.
Get the hell out of here!
Ended their engagement last December.
Break up with Phil Jackson.
Wow.
Oh, man.
Sorry, Phil.
They were together 17
17
years.
years.
Wow.
Now, did they end their engagement, like where they broke up, or they just? Well, I guess if you end your engagement, it's over.
It's
right?
over. Yeah.
Wow.
That's it. 6'7".
Damn, he was 6'7".
I thought he was 6'9". He must have shrunk as he got older.
Net
Yeah.
worth $70 million.
Not bad.
When they say when you get older, you shrink.
Yeah, that's what happened. With me, I had neck surgeries. I was 6 foot, and then now I'm 5'11" and a half.
My Nana shrunk. She
Yeah,
shrunk.
well, oh yeah, that
She was only like 4 or 5 to begin with.
It happens. I'm
She
walking
went-
around on my tiptoes now, so that I still tell
But
people
she
I'm
beat
6
your
feet.
ass.
Yeah.
She beat you. She take that gravy spoon and beat the fuck out of you. I'll tell you
Shoot.
that much.
Yeah, Nana.
Whew. I bring that up because I get chills. Just I can hear that thing cracking, and then she get mad that I broke the spoon.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, she's
Cuss you
nuts.
out in Italian.
Oh my god, crazy. So back to you
All right.
with the news. When you're working that schedule, how do you keep your family together? Like when I know at first you were single, as you were saying.
Yeah, yeah.
But then when you get married and you have your daughter. Congratulations, by
Thank
the
you,
way. even though
thank
she's
you, thank you.
13. Kind of late on that
13. Yeah, well, you missed it by 13 years.
Yeah.
Where's the gift?
one. At
No.
least it wasn't 20.
It's like I came late into the game of having kids. Usually, I mean, I was 51, and I had here's a baby at 51. Oh my goodness! So you don't know really what to expect. You don't know what you're in for. I mean, nobody does. You could read all the books, and then you have a kid, and it's like, holy cow! It's like everything is about that little person. When you work a weird schedule, that makes it that much. You're amped up on that. It's tough, but you do it, and it's a juggling act. My wife works. She's got a demanding job. She's been there 24 years. So it's not like that was going to go away. So you have to make it fit somehow. And we did. It's a juggling act, but it all becomes about the kid. And so you have to make us time. And sometimes, at first it was like, well, we're not going to, let anybody touch the kid for a while, or come in and, hang out at our house. After a while, you start trusting some people, and you can, okay, the kid can stay here, or you can come over here and babysit. We'll be back at 10 o'clock. Hey, we're just going to go to dinner.
Yeah.
And that kind of stuff. And so you make it happen. And the same thing with work. Like I said, when the child would go to bed, then it was time to start at least shutting down the house. But, that happened at 7. It was a rare day when it was 8 or 8:30 that you went to bed. It was usually more like 9 o'clock, which sounds early unless you have to wake up at 2:30. I remember setting the clock for before 2 many times, like 1:50.
I can't imagine.
Is that ridiculous?
I really can't imagine,
Yeah, I know.
John.
I know. But
I mean, I respect the hell out of you for being
Thank
able
you.
to do it. but,
those are the sacrifices you make.
yeah.
And
Like we said, you'll do what you have to do
Right.
with your family
I
in
used
order to survive.
I used to laugh at, you'd watch like a show, let's say like Jay Leno, and somebody like Katie Couric would be the guest. Well, they recorded the show at 6:30 in the evening or something. And, they'd always talk about, oh, well, here you are late at night, because technically it's 11:30 at night when that show would come on, right? And how do you do it? How do you get up this? Well, she was making $15 million or whatever a year.
Yeah.
For $15 million, you could do a lot. At the local level, you're not making that kind of money.
Yeah.
Nowhere near it. You can't sniff it. So it is more of a sacrifice, and you do it because that's what you studied. That's what you want to do. There's a certain, I don't know.
Just the way it is, kind of.
It
right?
is. It is. I mean, It's just the way it is.
That's the easiest way to. Yeah.
The all-encompassing, that's just the way it is. That's a choice you made. And I was very fortunate to do it. Overall, 42 years and 26 years here. You find your place, your niche, and you grow into it. And I was very fortunate to be able to do that. So I rarely complained a lot, maybe to my wife.
Yeah.
I got to get up. I remember sitting on the side of the bed at 2 o'clock going, if only I could sleep 2 more hours. I mean, you're begging for 4 in the morning.
Yeah.
Like that's, the crack of noon or something.
Yeah. 'Cause it's for me, like I can't sleep worth shit. So, but when I do fall asleep and then I wake up because I try to stay on the same routine,
Mm-hmm.
it's like if I just had 2 more hours, but I know if I lay there, it's just going to ruin my day and everything's
Right.
So,
Right. Hey, listen, you get up and you do it on adrenaline. And sometimes if you don't sleep today and tomorrow, well, you're going to be exhausted by day 3 and you're going to catch up somehow.
yeah, your body knows.
I mean, I'm no doctor. I can't tell you
Yeah.
that's for sure, but that's the way it worked for me. And sometimes it still happens. People tell me, yeah, you'll get used to this routine and, you'll do this and that. Well, it's been 4 months now, and my wife, she pokes fun at me. What are you doing up? What are you doing up? Go to sleep. Just because I got up doesn't mean you have to get up, So
And she works at the Breakers.
she
right?
works at the Breaker.
I had an engineering company. I did a bunch of work over there.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah,
Ah,
yeah. I had guys in there for
Great place.
a little bit over a year, right by the Italian restaurant.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
They were
Very
trying to put
familiar
new
with it.
columns up, and they couldn't get the columns up. So the guy my structural engineer at the time, he had built part of Miami University. Because when I got all my engineers, I went on Craigslist,
Mhm.
and I got all retired guys that I knew were good,
Mhm.
that weren't like greedy and all. You know what I mean? Old
Great.
school.
Yeah,
Old school.
Right.
Just maybe wanted to get away from the wife for a couple hours a day or just get out of the house,
Mhm.
but knew what they were doing. So I had gotten the structural engineer, and he didn't use this AutoCAD and all that stuff that they use now. He had the circle thing with the pencil,
Yeah.
erasing,
Yeah.
and he figured it out.
Wow.
It took him 3 months to figure it out, but he figured out how to get the columns straight right next to
So
the.
now they have those columns.
Yeah, they're there because it was leaning.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, but they couldn't figure out how to get the weight right. So they had 4 or 5 companies in, and then my company came in, and because I had a guy that did Miami, he was, 68, 69, almost 70, not 70, let's just say 45, 50 years of experience
Right.
using that little
Yeah.
octagon thing. AutoCAD didn't figure it out.
No, that's
That
great.
pencil and paper did it,
Yeah,
and he did it.
Yeah.
And the guy that we were dealing with, not the main guy, I forget his name, but whoever, he couldn't believe it. The guy that he sits there and watches Bloomberg. You can't even talk to him till 3 o'clock. And
Absolutely.
he's like a part owner or something up there, makes decisions.
He's watching Bloomberg, he's watching his money
well,
close.
he's definitely got some money. But yeah, it was funny because I couldn't call him till 3 o'clock because I'd have a question, and there was no calling him from 9 to 3. And I go over to his house, and he'd have all the screens, all the news on every channel, watching that market.
Wow.
9 to 3, forget it. He's not answering. The Breakers could be on fire. He's not answering that phone.
Call me after 3.
3:02, will answer. It's crazy.
Oh, my goodness. Unbelievable.
Now, what were her hours when you were working the 4:30 shift?
For the most part, since we've been married, she's been like a normal schedule, say 9 to whenever, because it's one of those, she's in sales. It's one of those whenever type jobs. A lot of times, a client's coming in. She handles the West Coast, so like everything west of Texas.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody's flying in from San Francisco, president of Levi Strauss, let's say. Well, it'd be nice if you're that guy to be met at the airport or at the hotel once you arrive at the airport by that person, a committee of special people that are representing the hotel and helping you out with your program. So a lot of times it's that. It's a regular job, a lot of sales, a lot of putting deals together, and then a lot of schmoozing, for lack of a better word,
Mm-hmm.
and talking with people and making sure that they're comfortable and well entertained and, well acclimated to what the Breakers is.
Yeah, because the Breakers is probably one of the biggest ones in the.
That's what it is. And
country.
it's beautiful.
Yeah,
Shameless plug. It's a beautiful hotel.
It is. Yeah, it is.
It's like I was in love with the place before I met my wife, and now whenever we get a chance to go
Yeah,
there,
you
it's
go walk
wonderful.
around. It's awesome, and you
It
got the
is.
Flagler Steakhouse
It is
right across the street.
amazing. Everything about it is top notch.
Anybody watching this, if you ever come to South Florida, you save up your money and
There you go.
get a night at the Breakers. Go have dinner. You can walk around, shop,
Right.
but just make sure you got a rubber band in your pocket because they'll take that. You won't have that rubber band when you leave.
I went fishing today with the executive chef from the Breakers.
Did you?
Yeah. We caught some yellowtail, and dinner's waiting for me when I get home.
Sounds good.
Fresh from the Atlantic Ocean to my refrigerator, and his recipe for how to make it. So it's awesome. It's one big family, and her job and her approach to work was so similar to our situation. Sometimes you complain. It's like, like a family. You complain about them, but you love them. And I think that's the way that TV was for me here 26 years, and that's the way it's been for her at the Breakers for 24 years. It's a tight-knit group. People come and they stay at both places. So a lot of times we'd be talking, and our conversation was so similar about that type of situation. So it wasn't like I was just talking TV news all day and she was just talking, oh my goodness, this client and this deal that fell through, or, it's like you can understand where people are coming from, even though she didn't have to wake up in the middle of the night like I did. Her job took her many times into the evening, many times overnight. If you're having a hundreds of $1,000 event, $1 million event, and more,
Which they have very often.
all the time.
Yeah.
And you're responsible for it because you're the salesperson that put it all together. Man, she's like a mother hawk.
Yeah.
She's watching over everything, making sure
Well,
everybody's
I'm pretty
happy
sure
and
if she
everything's
wasn't,
going
she
good.
wouldn't be working
Right.
that job at the
Yeah,
Breakers.
Exactly.
I don't
Exactly. And
I don't know where. I don't think there's anywhere higher in Florida than
the
the
demand.
Breakers.
The demand is tough.
I don't care what's down in Miami because
Yeah.
that's more of a tourist thing. Overall, I don't think there's any bigger hotel than the Breakers.
Yeah. It pretty much stands alone.
Yeah.
So it's nice, and I tell her, hey, be happy there. You've got it good, and I think all of them do. From Paul Leone, the president and GM, on
That's
down.
Paul Leone. That's
Nice
what I was
man.
trying to think
Nice
of. Yeah.
man.
Yeah. So basically, what you were saying was like you would complain, she would complain, but even though it's like two different industries, it's like he did this and he moved the paper, and she's like, yeah, I was in there and they didn't empty the drawer right.
Right.
Just an example.
Right.
And although it's two different industries, like you said,
We can relate to it.
you can relate to it,
Right,
and
right.
maybe that's what kept you together through the tough hours and everything.
The good and the bad. Yeah. We had things that, they jibed. Her industry, my industry, and we knew the same people. I mean, my friends are her friends are my friends, and some of them I knew before I met her. Not real well, but now
Knew of them.
we've become better friends now.
Yeah.
It's a long time now. 21 years we've been together. So
Well, congratulations.
thank you.
That's not very common anymore.
I'm telling you, you just got to keep on keeping on.
Now, when you look at the news now, compared to look at the news now and then look at the news, say, 20 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
what's the biggest differences that you see?
The easy answer is everything's different. When you're a viewer, it looks very similar. You'd flip on the TV, the guy pops on. It's the same, whether it was Dan Rather, whether it was Tom Brokaw, whether it's Lester Holt. The news is the news and whatever. Little nuances. You see the anchors walking around more. They're not sitting down. They're at this, display area, this other area. That's superficial. But basically, news is news. What you're seeing is they're incorporating so many more things in terms of, and this is local and national, online. That has really had an impact. Look what it did to newspapers. And so television, whether it's network, whether it's local, they have to not just keep up, but advance it, or else you're lost. You're going to lose that game because people have so many different ways of getting their news. And I always put it this way, the pie keeps getting sliced thinner and thinner and thinner. At what point are you just going to merge? Are local TV stations going to merge? Can it really afford 3 or 4 local stations, even in big markets like New York, Chicago, and L.A. I don't know. That's not the part of the business that, I dealt with, but I felt it. And you start wondering because of money. There's only so much money. And then you throw in a pandemic just,
on
for
top
the sake
of all
of
of
it.
it.
Yeah. And that makes it tough for just jobs, period. And then advertisers. If you're not selling cars, oh my goodness, that's every time you flip on the TV news, there's a car commercial.
Yeah.
You
Or the pillow guy. The My Pillow guy. I could pretty much recite.
Right.
He might come in.
Hey,
Yeah.
why not?
Yeah, I
He's
suppose.
got a lot to talk about these days.
He makes a shit ton of money. I know that.
That's right.
So that's what you see the most is just
I-
just like the internet difference. That's what the biggest change is.
I think so. What else? I mean, basically, it's the same. I think the attitude that there's been a breakdown in political aspects. If you're looking at Fox and CNN, that's an argument that's going to be like forever. 20 years ago, I don't think that people were that brazen that they supported this political party or this political party. Nowadays, it's like, what happened to journalism? What happened to middle of the road? Give me the facts. Joe Friday from Dragnet,
Yeah.
just the facts, ma'am. Now we throw in too many opinions in there. It doesn't sit well with people.
When did it come so divided? Because you have your Fox, and then you
Yeah.
have your CNN, and then your MSNBC.
I think like most things, it happens little by little, and you don't even notice it.
You
And
don't
then one
even-
day you
they-
turn around and you go,
like,
what the hell happened?
boom.
Yeah.
Well, Disney bought Fox now, and I can see them starting to go a little left. I mean, but they're still divided. It's
Well, yeah. I mean, I just think from here on out, that's the way it's going to be.
going to be like that forever.
Yeah, and at the local level, I think we kept on trying to protect it, and I think we still do. I mean, I'm not there in the inner workings anymore, but I think that I speak for my former employer that they really tried to respect that middle of the road, ride the fence aspect, and just try not to, imply too many things. But people, as viewers, they see what they want to see. On Facebook, let's say, they hear and they read what they want to read. And that would happen to me sometimes. Let's say the big story of the day might be that the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office wants to get paid back for security for Donald Trump. It might have been $250,000 for a weekend trip. Well, they may deserve to get that money back, and so you might put it on Facebook. Hey, what do you think? Should they get paid back, or is that just the cost of doing business? What if your taxes go up because the sheriff's office needs to do this and get reimbursed so they can hire more police or more
Escorts.
officers,
Yeah.
or more get more cars, whatever the case may be. And people would slam me, for putting it out there. Oh, he's anti-Trump. And my response many times would be, how do you know that Donald Trump doesn't call me up on the weekend when he's down here at Mar-a-Lago and say, hey, John, why don't you, me, the great white shark, and, somebody, let's go to such and play golf. How do you know? They don't know. They don't know that he and I aren't, buddy.
And they form that opinion.
But they
just
form that
because
opinion
you said-
because of that.
And all you and what you were saying was all you said was, well,
I wasn't
it's a
implying anything.
$250,000.
Right.
You're just stating
Yeah.
the fact. It's a $250,000 for him to have the security
Right.
that comes in. Somebody has to pay for it. How do you go about it?
Right. Especially
but
when
then-
you're a billionaire.
Yeah,
It's like-
but then, like you said, depending on who it is, they interpret that however they want to
Exactly.
interpret it.
Exactly. There's a lot of leeway there for interpretation that people get it wrong many times. But I'm not a great card player, but I keep them right here. And I very rarely showed, which side I leaned on. It's just not who I am. Not on TV.
I don't notice it on the local shit. I don't notice really. Sometimes they kind of will say something broad, very broad, but not like the other stations where it's like
At the
it's clear
network,
as day.
it's become
Yeah.
crazy. Yeah. So that's probably the biggest difference, that I see
The division.
as a viewer, that it's become very divided that way,
I think
and will be forever. And listen, just because let's say the Washington Post, went after Nixon many years ago, and I guess ultimately it was rightfully so. They found some dirt. That doesn't mean that they are this leftist newspaper. They were doing journalism, investigative reporting, which is what newspapers and TV stations do. So you can't hold them accountable forever that this is who they are. That's it. Well, they got Biden in their pocket. That's not really the way it is. But that's the way people, many times, close friends of mine, that's the way they believe. And I'm not going to sit there and argue with them, but that's not the way it is, because their mind's made up.
And you're not going to change it.
You're right.
Yeah.
So
why even waste your time?
I just okay them,
Yeah. That's what you have to do.
Yeah.
Because why get in a because like you said, you're not going to.
I got riled up.
And especially now, if you're a Biden person, there's no changing your mind.
Right.
If you're a Trump person, there's no changing your mind.
Right.
If you're in the middle, you're just going to stay in the middle and probably not ever leave the middle.
Listen, there's probably a lot of people on Palm Beach that are diehard Republicans that weren't crazy about Donald Trump moving to their island and back to his home, but they're not going to say it. It's like, hey, sure, you're welcome. Yeah, it's your house.
Yeah.
So it works both ways. Sometimes people just stay tight-lipped, even though they might want to say something. But what's that going to do?
Well, like a lot of people I know that liked Trump, in business and some of the business meetings, I personally knew that they did, but they would never tell anybody.
Yeah.
And then even people that like Biden, they wouldn't tell anybody either because, they didn't want to offend the other person or whatever. I mean, it's gotten so crazy with this.
It has.
I mean, really.
But where did we get so political? I mean, I understand
you tell me,
politics.
You're the news guy.
I know, but I ask everybody, how did it become so divided? We as a country. I mean, we're Americans, period. But then, you go red, you go blue. And those divisions are tough.
When did you notice it pop? When did you notice that division pop? Like you were saying, it's little by little, and then one day, bang, it's there. Like around when did you notice that happening?
Probably, little by little, it probably happened when Obama was elected.
The first time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
First time. And then it exploded when Trump got it elected because he put it out there.
Yeah.
This is the way it is. This is the way we're going to run our country. Not like politics. It's going to be like business, and here's how we're going to do it. And so I think, when you wield the heavy hammer like that, sometimes that's the way it is. Some people are with you. Some people are not with you. But he's the president. You have to respect that office and try to work within those boundaries.
Even if you don't like him, whether you like him or not, it doesn't matter to me. But, at least he put it out there, and did the press conferences and just said the way it was no matter what he got. Right. No matter how many tomatoes got thrown at him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
I mean, whether you like him or not, you got to give him that.
Hey, listen, for the longest time, he was an NBC guy, hosting his show, and, you're fired.
Yeah. What was that show called? The Apprentice.
Yeah. And early on, he would call us on the phone the next morning and talk about it. we did that, several times, and it was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was interesting, long before anybody knew he had any political ambitions. It was just, this is Donald Trump, who's got, suits at Macy's, who's got his name on every building, who's a wealthy billionaire and got his own plane with his name on it. And he's calling rinky-dink us, talking smack on our morning newscast.
What would he say?
Yeah, about the night before, about why so-and-so had to go on The Apprentice,
I could so see that happening.
I know, it was interesting.
Yeah.
We did that a few times, and it was fun. But the guy doesn't sleep.
Yeah.
Basically, he's up working all hours of the day and night, watching all the news he can.
How many hours do you think he sleeps a night?
I've heard, sometimes nothing,
Stays up all night?
Like all night. Wow. I'm sure he catches it whenever he can, but I would think that if I had to guess, 3-4 hours.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, Stone's got a ton of energy too.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got energy.
Right.
just like Trump.
Yep.
I don't know who has more. I mean, but they're both monsters.
Yeah. Well, it's what it takes to get to that level and get that kind of whatever fame, notoriety.
We got to work your
Success.
ass off to
Yeah,
get there.
that
You know?
too.
So
Yeah.
at that point, why not?
Yeah.
Do what you want. What was the biggest story that you think you did?
The biggest story.
Or maybe
The
not
biggest-
the biggest, but the most interesting story, in your opinion,
For
that
me?
you did. Yeah.
The one I always harken back to, it's the easy answer, is when I went back to Cuba. That was 1996, and I'd been working at the station a couple of years, and my news director said, hey, things seem to kind of be, clearing up a little bit in the trade, and, people are talking, that maybe there's going to be, some kind of a agreement with Castro. And
They sent you to Cuba to report?
yeah,
Jesus.
I went to Cuba, and I couldn't tell my mother. I mean, diehard anti-Castro, period.
So she wouldn't have been too happy with you?
Wouldn't have been happy with that situation.
You tell her when you got back.
Right, I did. Now, remember, when I was 4 years old, it's because Castro himself is plucking little kids and sending them to Russia to teach them how to be communists, right? So, we left under that assumption. And so now, all these years later, I'm 40 and, going back to Cuba to see what's going on. Not so much to, go talk to Castro, but just to see what the flavor is there, what the feel is of the communist nation. And
And what year is this? I'm sorry.
96.
Okay, so 96 you go back. They
Yeah.
send you back. Can't tell mom.
Right. But, I
Understandably.
I asked her, do you remember our address in Cuba? Yeah, 123, Mockingbird Lane. Okay. So I went. And lo and behold, I run into our cook. We had some money in Cuba, and she was our cook. And her sister was my nanny when I was, a kid. So the next day, meet up with nanny. So, I mean, it was amazing that I'm sitting there looking at the house, talking to the people who live there now. And they're on the balcony and stuff. And I'm speaking to them in Spanish. And this woman comes around the corner. And she asked me a couple of things, and I don't know her, but I remember the name Dulce, which I don't know if it's her real name or a nickname, but Dulce means like sweet.
Yeah, I like that name.
Yeah,
Also.
she's a sweet lady. So anyway, we start talking, and she, oh, Johnny, and she's hugging me, and I'm like, you remember me? And we start talking, and it was like it was just so different, Just it was like family,
Yeah.
And so she filled me in on, my life as a kid, and her sister, Elena, who was my nanny. We met up with her, and then her daughter, who was like, say, 5 years younger than me. And she was basically telling me, man, my whole young life, I had you to live up to. You were the comparison. You were the high watermark. Johnny this, Johnny that.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh, really? Yeah. How interesting. I never,
Did he have to go pop?
Yeah, right. Boom. I can't leave Cuba now with this big ego. Yeah, it's different because that's not the way your parents remember it. It's a whole different side of your life that your parents, they're too busy raising you, and the nannies, if they're around, they're raising you too. They see a different perspective of you. So, it was a cool trip just from that perspective, and seeing the house where I grew up, driving around. We had issues because we actually didn't get permission to go there. And so we had issues with the Cuban government. And so we had to clear that up with immigration. It's like you get off the plane initially, right? And 250 people get through. Me, you come over here, senor. And these people have guns, and it's scary because they're not messing around. And it's because my passport said that I was born in Cuba, and I didn't have any proper visas to travel there. We basically hopped the plane, went to the Bahamas, from the Bahamas went to Cuba. I would not recommend anybody born in Cuba do that, because then you've got issues. Now, since then, I've gone back. I went back with family to visit in 2018, December of 2018. And it was like, a whole different experience.
No
It's-
problems at all.
It wasn't work related, no problems at all. You see what you need to see, and people say, "Wow, what's Havana like?" Well, Havana's like going to Florida and saying you went to Florida, but you went to Orlando.
Yeah.
That's not Florida; it's Orlando. Havana is Havana. The rest of that country is tattered and torn. Not that Florida is, but Florida's got rural. Florida's got issues here and there.
Yeah, Florida's got one street with a $40 million house,
Right,
and
and
three
then
streets
there's
down.
that, right, right.
People are killing each other.
Right,
you
right,
know?
right. So you can't just say, "Oh, I went to Havana. Cuba's great." There's a lot of stuff in Cuba that's
A lot more to Cuba than Havana. Right?
Yeah.
Now, when you went over and needed permission, was that because you were doing a news job? Is that why you needed the permission?
Yeah. It would have been better, but we were in a hurry. Let's just get there. Let's just go figure it out. Okay. Sometimes
What did they want you to report on? Just
sometimes news is that way. Yeah. Just it was basically labeled Cuba Undercover: The Journey Home, and it was cool under that heading to work a story, a series of reports. I think it was like 5 parts. It was a kind of long and interesting.
how long were you there for?
Like 5 days, 4 or 5 days. Yeah.
Were you ready to go home?
Yeah. It was neat, but you're there, you're focused, on what you need to do, because you basically, you don't have a roadmap. Here's who you're going to go talk to. You're just there, and you're making it up as you go along. You're trying to find people from the U.S. if you can. We did. Better yet, if there's somebody from Florida, that'd be great. I had some relatives of friends of mine who were still in Cuba, who had money once upon a time. They decided to stay there when Castro took over, and how different life was for them. Now they're old. Medicine isn't what it could have been. Food certainly is not available. You don't go to Publix and pick up whatever you want. There's very few things at the grocery store. You're standing in line. It's like the pandemic all the time.
In Cuba right now?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, if I went over there, would I have an issue?
No, not at all. I mean, you could go and stay at a fancy hotel, eat good food.
But I would want to stay in that area.
Yeah.
That's what you're pretty much saying.
Mhm.
If I go,
Well, you can stray away from there because
just pay them off.
Yeah.
That's one cool thing.
Well,
You can
yeah,
pay it right off.
I paid a lot of people off. Yeah, but if you're American, they don't have an issue with you per se. They want your money.
Yeah.
If you stay at a fancy hotel, I mean, the Hotel Nacional is as nice as the Breakers. It's beautiful.
What do they knock you an hour for? Not an hour, a day for like the best room in
Back-
U.S. dollar.
I don't even remember. When we went last time, I didn't handle the finances. There were 12 of us, and it was like, okay, it's going to be this, so we got a deal, and we stayed at a house, that accommodated 12 people
Oh, okay.
comfortably. But I would say, I don't know, I'm just guessing. I would say it's probably, $400, $500 a night.
Versus like 1,400, 1,500,
Well, yeah,
1,600,
yeah,
depending on.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
It's crazy.
I mean, when I went in 96, the average salary, now wrap your brain around this, the average salary for most, if not all, government employees was $8 to $10.
What?
So everybody was in the black market doing something, driving a taxi, selling something, some undercover cohibas,
Yeah.
somebody knows somebody. Everything was the black market, just trying to make a buck. Selling trinkets. Castro had allowed, commercialism, to come in and people to be able to, sell their wares. So little knickknacks and stuff that cost $1, $2, whatever.
They're out working 24 hours trying
Man, you're making a buck, yeah. And they allowed some homes to open up as restaurants. But I also remember that the health department there, the inspector, held a lot of power. Because if you were selling something you weren't supposed to be selling, like lobster, let's say, they would shut you down.
You can't sell lobster in Cuba?
Whatever. Right?
Oh, you're just using an example.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I thought.
Only into fancy restaurants at the Hotel Nacional.
But you could
reserved
also
for
pull
these
out a
people.
20 and you'd walk away.
Right, yeah. But if you get caught, you
Yeah.
have issues.
Yeah, you're going to have gun
Right,
issues,
right.
right?
Like my photographer who went with me, who works at Channel 5, Jim Sitton, he's the federales.
Yeah.
They have the guns. You don't
big
want to
ones.
mess with them. Yeah, yeah. Senor, you're coming with me.
What do they walk around with? AKs?
Machine guns. Yeah, I'm not a big gun guy, so I don't know what's what.
Me
but-
neither, but I've seen it on TV, and
Yeah.
they weren't like 9mm. I know that.
No, I mean they were big guns, and nobody else has guns, and they have the uniform, and they look imposing, And so here I was trying my best in Spanish to how about we try $20?
Yeah.
40's better. Yes, you're right, 40.
Does that work? Okay. All right. Moving on. So you were there 5 days. You come back, and then you do a 5-part series.
Yeah. That aired probably 2-3 weeks later, and we had time to advertise it and promote it.
Yeah.
It was nice. Yeah. So anyway, that's my claim to fame. I always go back to that because it's something that meant something to me. And, like with most things in life, when you have a chance to look back at it, you thought, wow, I did that. It's different than when you're on it that day, that week, the next month. It takes a while before you finally,
It's kind of hard to. It takes time to soak in. Right?
Yeah.
And then realize what you accomplished.
Right.
Yeah.
So, usually whenever somebody asks me, that's it. Before that, it was, landing on an aircraft carrier. When I worked in Chattanooga and Top Gun was the big movie,
Yeah.
Let's go. And
What do you mean you landed on?
Yeah, we
Explain that to me.
we hooked up with, the Navy.
Yeah.
And they took us to land on an aircraft, a tail hook, like
Yeah.
if you've ever seen the movie, they land and you stop on the aircraft carrier,
Jesus.
out in the middle of the sea, in the middle of the ocean. It's like a self-contained city of 5,000 people, and it's day and night, and they take off, those jets and, fighter
Was that
pilots.
an assignment that you were on?
Yeah.
And what was the purpose of that assignment?
Just because it coincided with the movie.
Oh,
and-
it just coincided with everything?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
People were talking about it.
Yeah.
Usually, that's the way a meeting starts. What are people talking about today?
Yeah.
These days. And so, Top Gun, Tom Cruise, blah blah blah.
So why not, right?
Danger zone, danger zone. Boom, we went right there. No danger zone, but it was cool. And so that was a neat experience.
That does sound awesome.
And you're taking off, and we weren't in one of those little jets. We were in a, like a big, carrier thing, a Hercules, I believe it was. But when that thing lands, it's the same thing. You stop because you're coming in fast enough that tail hook's got to grab and stop you. So if you miss it, you can boom and take off again.
Yeah, because
If not, boom.
Yeah, because you don't have much of a runway.
Right, exactly.
So you better stop or you
Same
better
thing.
pull up.
When you take off, those things are so heavy and they're loaded with jeeps and tanks and stuff. So when they take off, it's got to have enough momentum, propulsion to send you off. And you go like this, and then you kind of come down. And
Like hover.
Yeah, you're like, oh my goodness, before it kicks in and you go. It's not like a small jet, which is light and fast. This is a big clunker,
Yeah.
but it still needs to do the same thing. And it's kind of scary, but, we did it and it was fun.
It's a memory, right?
It is.
You put it in the book.
It's awesome,
That's what it is.
That's my top two.
That's what I always say. The news, you may not, I'm not saying John, but you may not get paid a whole lot of money.
Yeah.
The hours.
Oh, no,
suck.
you can say John. I didn't get paid.
So the hours suck.
He's retired. You can say whatever you want now,
So
right?
the hours suck. You're grinding. You're doing this. But
Right.
It's always the memories and those stories.
Yeah.
And those places that the average Joe can't go. Like,
Right.
I was on the field for Notre Dame in the national. I love Notre Dame, favorite team. On the field for the national championship game against Alabama. Now they got smoked.
Yeah. But
I'm
you were
looking
there.
up at people, and they've paid thousands of dollars, and I was there for free.
You
on
were
the
there
field.
with a little card that's got your name on
Exactly.
it. It makes me somebody. I'm on the field watching you.
Exactly.
It's funny. You and I did that story on that 120-something foot yacht at the Fort Lauderdale, boat show. Oh my goodness!
What'd you do?
He still remembers that. Huh?
He and I went down to Fort Lauderdale and we covered, this. I think I had pitched a story about, like, say, mansions, Palm Beach and what that looks like. And they decided, well, the boat show's in town. Why don't you guys run down there and find a big boat and, talk to somebody about it. It was a $20-something million boat.
I'm sorry, John. So now when you say pitch a story, you go to like your producer or director?
Yeah, every day there's a
and
bunch
throw
of
an
meetings.
idea.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
there's ideas that are thrown out, and it's, ratings period is coming out, the Nielsen's, the sweeps. And so, they like to have something they can promote.
Okay.
And so, a behind-the-scenes look at a Palm Beach mansion, $35 million. Who the hell owns this place? So in this case, they said, well, let's do the boat show. We found a 20-something million dollar, 100-and-something foot boat that was, brand new. And it was cool. I mean, it was loaded with stuff that you're not privy to unless you're in that circle or you go to a boat show. But many times they're not going to let you on that boat because they know you're not going to buy it.
Yeah, you can live in that damn thing,
But
right?
yeah, I mean, even like the captain made a ton of money and he loved his life. He was a young guy that, yeah, we'll go out for 2-3 months and tour this and that. And then the rest of the time, it sits, we wash it, we take care of it. He had a nice life. I didn't meet the people that, owned it. But he had just recently gone from another big fancy ship to this even bigger and better and more improved, boat. And as you take a tour through it, I mean, you can imagine if it's $25 million or whatever it costs, it better look nice. It's better than most people's houses on Palm Beach.
Yeah.
I mean, it had multiple suites and the kitchen was, better than most places. And it was like full size. The living room, you touch this, the TV comes up. Everything was on an iPad. I think you basically steer the ship with the iPad.
Yeah, they're
press a
amazing.
button, the shades go down, the lights come up. It was just awesome.
Yeah.
So you take that with you and you go, I was talking about that today when I was fishing with my buddy Jeff.
And Rob was with you filming?
Yeah.
And you were reporting?
Yeah, and remember we had to take our shoes off. We had to,
You could not have your shoes on.
in our socks,
Yeah, what is that with the taking the shoes off? Who else was saying that to us, Rob?
It's $20-something million. I don't know. They don't want it messed up.
I kind of forgot about the $20 million.
Yeah, right.
part.
Well, yeah.
If you come
I
to my
didn't
boat,
forget.
if I drop $20 million, yeah, you're taking your shoes off, right?
Yeah. No stinky feet. Wear some socks. Here, wear these socks. In fact, I just washed them. Yeah, and so it's true. You just take those memories with you. And I hearken back to a teacher that I had my freshman year at Miami-Dade Community College North Campus, John Kern. He was a frustrated sports guy and had moved down to teach junior college and basically play golf in Florida, and he had been an Army guy, and I had hair down to my shoulders and my beard before it turned white.
So you were a hippie.
I guess.
Did you go to Woodstock?
No, but I remember it happening. I was 13 when Woodstock happened, but I enjoyed the music. Anyway, this guy would say, Favole, what are you doing with your life? You're not going to go on TV looking like that, I looked like, you wouldn't remember him, but he was Johnny Fever from WKRP in Cincinnati.
I think he brought him up, but I don't.
He had the shades and he had the.
What, did he wear sunglasses when he was recording?
Yeah. He was a radio guy,
Oh, okay.
Johnny Fever, he was always the burned out jock. Hey,
Yeah.
how you doing? We're going to listen to some music here, Led Zeppelin. So anyway, that's it's kind of like the way that I must have looked to this teacher,
Yeah.
Even though I made good grades and, all that, but. He says, you should join the Army. You should, join the service. What are you going to have to talk about when you're 40 years old with your buddies? I'm like, well, hopefully I'll have a nice career and you teach me a few things and I'll, look at that guy. I'll take it from
That's
there.
you.
That's me, 1980. So I've kind of gone full circle and, lost a little color in my hair, but,
I don't want your wife to kill me, so I won't. But I'm sure you had a good time.
Oh, I had a nice time. Yeah, it was.
But now you're having a better time.
Much better time.
I learned.
Good save.
I learned.
Yeah.
I learned the hard way.
Yeah, that was on the other side of me there. It's my mom. It was my mom got remarried, I should say, later in life, 50, which sounds young to me now, but she was 50 and I was like 24 maybe.
It says, "Nice beard, compadre."
Beard, compadre. Like you with a beard, huh? Now I figure. Now my wife says that I look like the Dos Equis guy.
Oh, Dos Equis.
Stay
you
thirsty,
do.
my friend.
You do.
Yeah,
You do.
Either that or
Pull up the Dos Equis guy.
Ernest Hemingway.
Yeah, people say, John, look at you. You look like Ernest Hemingway.
I'll take the Dos Equis.
Yeah,
You know what he's probably getting paid?
Right.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Now he's getting paid, boy.
But, they're Dos Equis. You got to spell it right. There he is.
Yeah.
That's great, isn't it?
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. Stay thirsty, my friends.
You're close. You're there. You take them glasses off. You got the same color eyes.
There you go. Maybe I'll go to Dos Equis and say, listen, since that guy's not doing it anymore,
Shit, he does look like him.
how about me? Can I do that? He said, no, you look too much like Hemingway.
Or I'm going to say, hold on, let's throw the urn.
I'm going with Dos Equis.
Hold on.
You do, John. You do. You look
Thanks.
pretty damn. I mean, that's a compliment.
Shoot, now look at this. We got Ernie.
No, that guy looks like that guy looks like he's been through World War III, sat on the couch and drank for the last 17
Well,
months.
that's what he did.
Oh, okay.
He wrote books, fantastic books that are bestsellers, and fished and drank.
He's the one who said you look like him, not me.
Okay.
I completely disagree.
You and I are still good. You, not so good, amigo.
You need to have a talk with him.
that's
That's the
funny.
second talk you need to have with him. First the goat, and now this.
Listen, really.
No,
But this guy's, amazing, super famous. I'd like to say I've read all his books. I've read probably 2, For Whom the Bells Toll, Old Man in the Sea. But the guy was an incredible writer. Obviously, all these years later, they're still having that contest in Key West.
Yeah.
The Hemingway look-alike. The regatta's named after him. If the guy were alive today, I'm sure that he would be going back and forth with Cuba and trying to solidify things.
That's funny that they're still doing that even
Yeah,
now.
yeah. Amazing.
What do you get if you win? Yeah, you just
More
get-
beer. I don't know.
Is that what you get, beer?
I don't know. That big old, thing, of metal around your neck. I have no
That
idea.
like a little head thing? Oh,
Hopefully some money.
that's what I was gonna say. I mean, if you could win 20 grand or something, I mean, you could probably
I'll
pull
go
it off,
down
John.
there. I'll buy one of those outfits. I'll show
The
up
hell
next
with it.
year.
I'm still saying you're the Dos Equis guy. You know?
Dos Equis. Okay, well,
Not that I have anything against Ernest Hemingway. I'm just saying as far as looks, but
he was known for, I believe, he drank like mojitos
yeah,
and daiquiris.
the girl stuff. Yeah,
Yeah, no judging here. It's still good stuff.
yeah. No.
But the
Oh,
other
yeah,
guy,
right. I'm not allowed to say that
Dos
anymore.
Equis.
That's
Yeah.
sexist. I'm sorry. It's for guys and girls. Just girls like to drink it in the morning. Guys like to
right.
drink it later in the day.
Well, when I was in Cuba, I drank a lot of daiquiris, and they were damn good. So
Yeah, no, not daiquiris,
no
because the
judging
strawberry
here.
is good.
Yeah,
but the mojitos.
Mojitos, yeah. You're right. That's a little light, but hey,
Yeah, it's a.
whatever.
We both have them.
Dos Equis is fine. Oh, look
Yeah,
at
they still got you up there. I saw that. I pulled it up.
Wow.
Yeah, that's. I mean,
They won't let me go.
yeah, WPTV.com/ There you are.
Really?
I got a site just for you, but
Oh,
I got to ask John a quick question.
the
yeah,
assholes
go.
didn't even put a picture of them.
no, really.
They took him down.
They
What the
put
hell?
Mike and Ashley up.
Like, what the hell are they putting them up
I'll
there for
tell you.
when they're? It's / John, and they got these guys up.
Yeah,
on.
that's fine. That's the way it is. Life goes on.
Well, I understand, but don't put / John Favole
Yeah.
and put these guys up because
That's confusing.
this is for you. Because I didn't know who you were.
Right.
So when I'm looking, I'm thinking, shit, is he the guy on the right? You know? Remember?
That's good. Hey, whatever.
Tom, you got to ask John about his. What was it like with Roxanne all those years?
Your other wife?
Oh, yeah, my daytime wife. Yeah.
Your real wife must have loved that.
Yeah, they're good friends.
No, I'm
you
just
know?
fucking with
Yeah. They're good friends. In fact, we went out to dinner Saturday night for my birthday.
Yeah.
Rox and her husband, who used to be a photographer at the station for 20 years,
Wow.
and now he works for the sheriff's office, has for many years now. Nice guy, Steve and Rox. They've been married now, geez, is it possible, 20-something years?
Wow.
So they met there and started dating. When I came down here, I thought Rox was still married. Well, she had gotten divorced. And, she kind of, I'm like asking her about, her ex-husband. Well, I got to tell you this, Favs. We're divorced, and nobody here at the station knows, but I'm dating Steve Moss.
Who works
Who?
at the station.
Steve Moss. That guy over there. Oh, the guy who wears shorts to work. Oh, that's great. Gotta love him. So that's how, it started. And she actually got me down here. So, all those years ago, I still owe her a debt of gratitude. I was working in Fort Myers. Our station was being sold to merge. I was at the ABC affiliate doing the 6 and 11 p.m. news, and we were being sold to WBBH, the NBC affiliate, as a merger. And we were basically being asked to, reapply for our jobs. And everybody was like, are you kidding me? I mean, come on, we've earned this, just merge and go for it. So, long story short, I didn't want to play that game. So that's it. Okay, bye. And at the time, I was also doing commercials back in Macon, Georgia. I was also doing them someplace else.
Like you were in the commercial, or you were?
Yeah. I was doing car commercials.
Really?
Yeah, freelancing. And did I? You see, now I'm confused because so many years. I branched off into that and did other things besides just the car commercials. I also did medical stuff that, with a producer who would set it up, and, it was all laid out and just do it, So once a month I would go up to Georgia and bang out a bunch of stuff, and it was good money. So I figured, okay, I could do that in Georgia. I could do that in Miami. I could do it in Orlando. I could, go up the East Coast and just, boop, 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 and make good money. And then, Rox called and she says, hey, we've got an opening here. It's early morning. I said, how early? Well, we're expanding to 6 o'clock in the morning from 6:30. I'm like, 6 in the morning? Oh, Favs, we need you. You and I could team up again. Again, we used to work together in Chattanooga in 88 and 89. We could team up. We could own this market in the morning. I'm like, oh, Rox, I'm not getting up at 4 in the morning. This is before I started getting up at 2, when 4 sounded bad. Yeah. And I longed for 4.
And you're worried about 6 right now.
Right. So, I did it, and it was probably the worst interview of my life. She talked to the news director, and the news director called me up. I'm like, yeah. Tomorrow's not good for me. No. How about the next? The next day's not good for me.
Were you just not into it?
I just really didn't want to do it. I did not want to lead somebody on and say, I'm going to wake up that early in the morning. No problem.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd never worked that early. Never. And at that time, however many years, 20 years, 15 years in the business, I'd never gotten up early. So I did it. I came over, and it's just a drive across Alligator Alley, and I stopped twice thinking, I'm going to turn around. I got here.
Did you actually stop and really debate it?
I stopped, looked around. What am I doing? I really don't want to go back to the East Coast. I don't want to wake up early. I did it. I got here about a half hour late for, the interview. News director was very kind, and showed me around, went out to lunch. Worst interview of my life. I mean, I barely touched my sandwich. We talked. He just kind of says, look, I know all this is, like new to you right now. Just let it set in for a couple of days, and then we'll talk. And we talked. And I told him, thank you, but I'm not going to do it. And I don't know what else I was going to do other than that plan B, and do car commercials elsewhere.
So you turned it down.
I did. And he threw more money at me, and then he threw more, and I kept on saying no. And he says, I'm not going to let you go. Not that it was a ton of money, but It kept on going up by $1,000. And I'm like, well, where's this going to end? So, finally I said, look, stop with the money. It's not that. It's just, I don't want to see Roxanne in the morning. No, it's just, I did not want to wake up at 4, and I just couldn't tell him that.
Yeah.
So, another long story short, I did it. I said, okay. I called several people who had worked at the station, and now, we had worked together elsewhere and blah, blah, blah. And so I picked their brain, and they said, it's a great place. If you can suck it up and do the hours, I'm sure that you'll have an opportunity to do something else. Okay, yeah, I like that. Good game plan. And it happened that way. I took the job. So that was 94, October of 94. By 96, I got moved. I did morning and noon. I did the noon with Kelly Dunn for 12 years. And then I did noon and 5 p.m. So Kelly and I were noon and 5. I left Roxanne doing early morning. They put somebody else as her co-anchor. And I'm like, oh, my goodness, a year and a half, 2 years. And I got a raise, and I'm basically working 10 to 5:30.
That's not bad.
That's not bad.
I'll take that shift.
I did that for almost 3 years.
Yeah, I wouldn't have a problem with that.
Which Roxanne called my hiatus, and she never let me live it down. Now, in those 3 years, Roxanne and I had such good chemistry, then the number started slipping. So a new general manager comes in, new news director, boom, they throw me back to, early morning.
Because you guys worked so good
together. Because we had chemistry. And, and again, that's one of those stories that you don't know it while it's happening until years later down the road. You say, why did people like us so well? Well, we had something. You catch lightning in a bottle, and it works. It's not like Roxanne and I were the best friends in Chattanooga. We worked together and we had a few beers together. We became really good friends, you know? I mean, we talked about everything, and people still to this day, do you guys get along as well as you seem like you get along? Yeah. I mean, bottom line, we went through a lot of stuff together, you know? Marriages, kids, in my case, horses with her, and cats and cat deaths.
We were talking about boats before we came on. Horses, that's another one.
Yeah,
that's another one that would drain.
Exactly. I mean, exactly.
Yeah.
Now, you know, her horse, Numbo, God bless him, he died in Chattanooga, so I remember what a big deal that was.
I'm an animal guy.
Yeah.
I like animals better than people, so.
Well, yeah. I mean, and you know, she's a heavy-duty horse rider, you know, like competitive.
Yeah, that's
you know?
cool.
Yeah, equestrian type stuff. And so, you know, horses mean a lot to her, and she's willing to pay that expense. So anyway, you know, we've gone through all that, and now her horse is getting older, and you know, not just horses, but cats. She's the cat lady, for goodness sake. And a lot of cats have lived a good, long life. My next life, I'm coming back as one of Roxanne's cats. They live a good life. But, you know, they die, and you know, it's like everything seems bigger than it is at 3 a.m. And you're talking about it, and she's trying to put on makeup, and I'm next to her. I'm trying to put on makeup. I was pretty good at that one time. I put on makeup. And she's crying, you know, so we're sharing stuff. And then on the set, same thing, you know. It's like you're picking each other up. Deaths of parents, that type of stuff, you know. Divorces, life.
It sounds like you guys just had the chemistry.
Right.
And
behind the scenes and on air, you know.
Yeah. What's that movie? Because I know you like movies. I read the thing. Meet Joe Black. When Lightning Strikes.
Yes, that's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
You ever see that movie?
Yeah.
Good movie.
Yeah, good movie.
Great movie. Brad Pitt. Great movie.
Yeah, Brad Pitt.
Now, why'd they call her your wife, your second wife?
It's just a joke. You know, it's like your daytime wife. You spend more time many times in whatever business.
Yeah.
In this case, TV. You know, TV is all based on putting the right people together. You have so many choices as a viewer that you got to find that right chemistry. You know, think of how many people you just don't like. You know, whether it's a movie or whether it's a newscast. You make assumptions just based on, I don't like the way she looks. Click. You know, you might be watching The Voice. Oh, that guy can't sing. Click. So it's that quick, and so TV stations spend a lot of money with, you know, focus groups and forums and things, trying to get the right people together. What do you think about this one? What about this one? You know, beep once if they're good, beep two if they suck. And so, you know, I guess we constantly pass the test. And then there's overnight ratings every night, which takes apart the 24 hours by 15-minute increments. So every day you know how good you are.
How do they calculate that?
Magic. You know, everything with TV is magic. It's a, you know, the Nielsen system has some kind of a hookup in your cable.
I say that because you got like Xfinity here, you got Verizon here, you got AT&T here. I mean, that'd be hard to get all those numbers together.
They're all in cahoots.
Oh, they're all in cahoots.
They're all in cahoots. They all have X number of TVs, households represents this many people.
Okay.
So I don't know if it's perfect, but as long as they all agree to it, that's the ratings. So if you have 500 TVs, means that, you know, that's it, plus or minus 2 or 3%. They're happy with it.
But how the hell do they know if you watched it or not? I guess they could see if you.
If the TV's on, that's good enough.
Wow.
You know, I guess if the dog's watching it.
Shit.
I really don't know. I didn't have to deal with it. I just accept it as it's magic.
Yeah.
That's the way it is. How does that thing, that signal transmit up to a satellite and come in so clear? And, you know.
Don't ask me.
I don't either.
We got to call Elon Musk and ask him.
Right.
He could probably.
And it was somebody before him that, you know. So I just accepted that, okay, that's the ratings, and it shows that, you know, we're number one. And for a long, long time, we had gaudy numbers. I mean, gaudy numbers where, you know, if we would get, let's say, a 28 share, the next best got a 9 share. You know, so you're tripling the competition. Many times you're doubling and tripling the other two guys. You know, the CBS and the ABC. So NBC was that dominant. And sure, we had the Today Show coming up, but, you know, people stayed with you from whether 4:30, 5 o'clock, 5:30, 6. I could see that they'd tune in at 6:45 or 6:30, and those numbers
That was
did
like the
go
most
up.
common time, right?
But for the most part, I mean, we from the time we signed on at, came on the air at 4:30 until 7, we dominated. And then when we went over to Fox, now Fox is competing from 7 to 9, Fox 29, the local Fox newscast, against the Today Show and Good Morning America. So you're not going to get these huge ratings. If you make a dent in there, it's pretty good. You know?
Yeah. Now, when you're doing that, when you got there, how long did it take you guys to get to number one?
Honestly, not long. I'd say
because you were saying it was kind of shit when you got there.
It was we were always a dominant station, but the numbers were
average.
Okay, they hit or miss. It wasn't a newscast that like it is today. It was a lot of leftover. The sports guy would leave you 5 minutes. You're talking a half-hour newscast, 8 minutes of commercials. So you're talking if the sports guy leaves you 5 minutes, 8 minutes of commercials, you got 17 minutes to fill. That's not hard. You get a package from the day before, a news story from the 11 o'clock or 2. Something new from a reporter in the morning. Weather, goes crazy and does 3 weather hits of 2 minutes each. There's not much news going on there, So it was a very different newscast in the mid-'90s than it's become now in the 2000s. Now it's hardcore. You've got more opportunity because of the internet and just computers, because of you've got access to newspapers from everywhere or news organizations from
When you say hardcore, do you mean hardcore as in harder to get the ratings because of other options, or you just got to punch quick?
Yeah. Again, it's getting sliced thinner.
Yeah.
And so if you don't hook them, they click you to go to the next one. And if it's not local, they're going CNN, Fox, whatever. Watching Netflix. You're competing with how many HBOs?
Amazon Prime,
everything.
Video,
You're
Apple TV.
You're competing with a lot of stuff. ESPN even.
Yeah.
People wake up.
They got 4 different stations on ESPN.
Right.
And Fox has their sports channel now too.
So it's become bam.
Bam.
And so you're here local trying to compete with 250 channels or more.
Yeah.
Legitimately more. There's 1,000 channels out there, but if you want some type of news or some kind of infotainment program, you've got probably 100. That's hard to compete with that. So you've got to hit them hard and give them real news and give them what they want, and it keeps on evolving. Weather's always king because that's something we can always all relate to. That's going to affect you every day, everybody, every day. So you've got your out the door forecast, you got your school bus stop forecast, you got your golfing forecast, your boating forecast, everything. So that's always going to be dominant. And then what's happening with COVID, what's happening with schools, education, taxes, the usual. And we tend to think that if it bleeds, it leads. If there's a shooting, that's a major story. Well, how many people does it affect? Do you get more bang for your buck if you're doing something about teacher pay raises or nurses pay raises? They're up in the morning because their shift starts at 7. Mm-hmm. So they're watching you more than, it's another guy that got shot in Pahokee, sadly, or Riviera Beach. Sadly, it goes in one ear and out the other. Somebody died. Somebody got shot. There's a drug deal gone bad. But sometimes it becomes this long a story, and you put your resources on something else that matters to more people.
Well, see, I would think it would be the opposite. I would think that the lather would get more ratings than
sometimes it does. It's a mindset, and I think that a lot of us as viewers want to see more about the death, doom, and destruction, but then we get penalized as the journalists for just giving them crappy news. That doesn't affect anybody. Yeah, that's all you put is, somebody got shot,
But then you go and you look and you got 70,000 murder shows.
Right.
Dateline, 2020, ID channel.
People like them.
ID channel, so I mean that's what it is.
I know. Well, it's true.
But, so do you think that the way you guys got to number one quick was the niche between you and Roxanne? Like you guys just had that niche that made it work, that got you guys there?
I think so. I think they allowed us to have our personality, show through. And with me, what you see is what you get. I don't have any pretenses. This is it. I'm not that good a faker that I'm going to be Mr. News Guy and put on this voice.
Oh, you got a good voiceover too.
Well, thank you. Thank you very
That was
much.
3. Give me a good voiceover. we had this guy. We had Rustin. He sounds like the movie guy when they don't even do that anymore. Commercials for a movie.
Right. Yeah.
But he sounds exactly.
Some
like
people have the voice of God. John Facenda with the NFL. What was it like? Green Bay. It'd be like the frozen tundra. Green Bay Packers.
Yeah,
Bart
hey.
Starr lining up.
John, you got
Bob
it too.
Lilly looking at him across the line. Smoke coming out of their noses. It's like, ooh.
That's number 3. So we had Rustin, and then we had Victor Concepcion, great guy, and he was good. He did The Rock. He did Hulk Hogan because he met all these people. He's
that's
like
cool.
a big time event guy. He was at Super Bowl.
But he can do voices and that kind of stuff.
I mean, he doesn't do it like professionally, but he could do them good.
Oh, that's great.
He was perfect with The Rock, or not The Rock, Hogan. Perfect because he hung out with him,
Wow.
and he was pretty good with The Rock.
Well, yeah, those guys have a certain tone to them that I'm sure if you go that way, you could probably emulate them with a little help.
I said to him, does he say that brother all the time? When you're around, he's
Hey, brothers, little Hulksters.
yeah, he's pretty good too. He said, the way he is on TV is exactly how he is in person. Same
funny,
shit.
huh? Wow.
Brother, this,
Hulk.
exactly the same. Hulk Hogan.
Terry Bollea, isn't it?
Terry Bollea.
Terry Bollea.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wife took him to the cleaners.
Yeah. He built an image for himself,
Yes,
didn't
he
he?
did.
He was the first that I remember being that big.
I agree.
I mean, The Rock took it. He's
he's
like the highest paid actor.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, but remember when he was on The Rock is Cooking? I mean, everybody watched that. Everybody.
Right.
Even if you didn't like wrestling, you watched it just to see The Rock.
He was amazing, yeah.
The Rock says.
Yeah,
Remember?
right. I mean, that's something when that becomes part of culture,
Yeah.
Our culture. It's like, like a brand like Coca-Cola or, Pepsi or GM. It's becomes that.
And as much as
Rock.
people don't like, is it Ed McMahon? Who owns that? Vince McMahon. As much as people
Ed
don't.
McMahon was the second banana to Johnny Carson on the
you're right.
Tonight Show.
Yeah.
Hi-oh, that guy.
As much as people don't like him, he did a great job with the WWE.
Yeah.
And he
Absolutely.
did. I mean, people don't like it for whatever reason.
You got to
I don't
step
know.
on a lot of people's heads to get to, that, and
And you get the envy and everything.
right.
else,
Yeah, people aren't going to.
What else is new?
Yeah, right. Well, hey, look, I'm sure Oprah's got a great image. I'm sure there's some people that have worked for her that say, "Whew, what a pain in my butt."
Yeah.
But we don't see it.
No, we just see the outside.
Yeah,
we see the front that is given.
Yeah.
What about a good story here, locally? Like a story that really sticks in your mind locally. You've been doing it 42 years. You got to have one that just really pops. Is that
Crickets?
He's got to go through that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking locally. Listen, honestly,
I mean, 42 years. I guess it's kind of tough to narrow it down.
this is a feel-good story every year. Right outside our TV station would be the Food for Families Drive. And then it became known as the Bill Brooks Food for Families Drive. That's the guy who hired me. He was our general manager for scripts and president of the station. A super nice guy. Anyway, he saw a need in the community that, in this town, he lives in Palm Beach, in this town of filthy wealth, whether it's Boca, Jupiter Island, anywhere. There's a lot of places here that are just a lot of money. There's also people that go to bed hungry with no food, no prospects of food, and they're undernourished, underfed, and they will be that way for life. So he took it upon himself with help from the TV station and started rounding up his friends like, the Rooneys, with the racetrack. And that was one of the big ones that was on there initially. And now for 30 some odd years, they've kept it going. So every November, right before Thanksgiving, the food drive starts. Like right after Halloween, they kick off the food drive. Goes for about 3 or 4 weeks, and it culminates with people coming around our little, circle there at the front of the TV station and just dumping off food. And it's gotten bigger
awesome.
and better. And it's incredible. Schools are involved, sheriff's office, people with money, people that can only do a couple of cans, stop by Publix, pick up a can, an extra can of buy one, get one.
Yeah.
And
No, that's really cool.
And that's done such great things for the community. So, I mean, that always sticks out in my mind. It wasn't anything I did. I was always involved with it. We would start broadcasting it early in the morning. People would start coming by at 5:30, 6 o'clock. And, and it's been cool. And as far as an individual story, there's so many. Where do you start? There's a lot of feel-good stories that are like that. But
that's just the one that sticks out. That's good because
Yeah.
it's helping the community, and it's something nice because I'm sure you've seen a lot of nasty stuff.
Right,
in 42 years.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I mean,
When my wife, if and when she sees this, she'll say, "What about blah blah blah?" And, and when your kid was born, then that was on the air.
I asked him. I asked him. It's his fault, not my fault.
She always has a good one for me. I'm like, oh man, you should have been there with me. You could have coached me.
Yeah, she could have sat right there.
Right.
I got one more for John. What's celebrity-wise? You've met a bunch of celebrities over the years. Who sticks out in your mind that was just cool, down-to-earth, fun? I know Vanilla Ice has been by the station.
Ding 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 ding. Ice. Yeah, Joe Namath. I see him up there, and of course, Bob Saget. Before we even started, doing this, I told you he's super guy, and. Here are people that have reached a certain level in their lives, in their personal and in their professional lives that are just super iconic, well-respected, and they give of themselves, and they're nice people. You want an autograph, they give you an autograph. You want to take a picture, they'll take the selfie for you. They're just genuinely nice people. Locally, it's like you meet a lot of people like that are, superstars, and if they're nice, they stick with you. Everybody's going to have a bad day. Celine Dion.
You met Celine Dion.
And the way that I met her was incredible. At a dinner party. Shannon Cake's house. Oh, wow. No, it wasn't Shannon Cake's house. A good friend of ours. It was the DeTolos. Robert DeTolo's house. Dr. DeTolo. Ear, nose, and throat guy.
Yeah.
Shameless plug.
Yeah.
Julia DeTolo, his lovely wife. So anyway, long story short, we had no idea that she was coming there with her husband Renee and son RC, I think that was his name, who's now probably 20-something years old. And so we show up, and we had no idea. I'm fixing myself a martini over here at the bar, and blah blah blah, and I hear like a little buzz coming from over there. And here comes Celine Dion. I mean, dressed, like Celine Dion, like, I am the greatest,
Yeah.
And we got a kick out of that, and she came over to where I was, and she watched us in the morning because she lived here before she moved out to Las Vegas. And B, she and her husband were trying to get pregnant, and eventually they had twins.
Yeah.
We had just recently, had our daughter, and so, we got to talking, about in vitro and that kind of stuff. And I'm thinking, man, I'm sitting here talking to Celine Dion.
And what year was this?
This
roughly
15 years ago, let's say.
So she was on fire at that time.
Yeah, she still is.
I mean, but I'm really
she was
out there on fire.
Yeah, she was at the top.
Yeah.
And she's one of those people that will always be like Barbara Streisand or Liza Minnelli. That when you say the name, they don't share. They don't have to be recording anything. Madonna even.
Everybody knows.
If they go on tour, boom, sell out.
Yep.
It's like Celine Dion's just incredible. And then it was just incredible to meet somebody of that stature. That was just that low key that night. She was just so
normal,
happy to be normal.
Yeah.
To be able to go out with, say, 8 people, somebody's house. There's 10 of us, let's say, having dinner, real good steak dinner, and nice. And we had made some chocolate-covered strawberries. And Renee, her husband, can I take some more? In his Canadian French accent.
That had to be neat. Right?
Sacre bleu, these are terrific.
Yeah, that had to be neat.
Yeah,
right?
It was great.
Yeah.
And my wife, take them all. We'll make more. Don't worry about it.
Enjoy them.
Yeah. I'm happy to give them to you.
So you think that was probably the biggest?
That was, yeah, I'd say,
I don't know.
I mean, that just came out, boom. If not my wife, I channeled my wife. If not, she goes, what about Celine Dion? We sat next to her.
And he was telling me that Steve-O was balancing chairs.
Steve-O is nuts. Yeah, I mean, that's just crazy.
What? He was balancing chairs on what? His mouth?
That was before he went on air. He was
Yeah.
Did you see that, John?
Yeah, yeah.
What was he?
Yeah, I mean, he does crazy stuff,
Yeah,
yeah. I mean, the guy, yeah, he was, and there was another guy. It wasn't him. There was a guy that swallowed like cue balls, like pool balls,
Really? Who in the hell?
billiard balls, and
He'd swallow and
chuck them.
Wow.
God, I mean, it was heavy stuff and coins and stuff.
Were you there when they got the
Weird
voice
people.
guy? What was the voice guy that used to do the? Oh man, he used to do the John Madden impression.
Oh yes, God, he still does. He does everybody and their brother.
He was there. He was awesome. What was his name? Yeah, hold on.
Nothing like putting us on the spot.
I know, right?
Joe. Oh, wait, no, not
It's a good thing we don't have to go to the library like in the old days and have to do that.
No.
No, Pat Summerall, God bless him. Him and John Madden were a great team.
Is John Madden still around?
I think so.
I haven't heard him in.
He
3 or 4
retired.
years.
I'd say he's John Madden age, so I'd say, yeah.
Who the heck was it? I don't know how to Google this. How do I Google this? There he is. Frank Caliendo.
Yeah, that's it. That's who it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What happened with him?
He came to the station.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
He did a.
He was.
Oh, wow.
He was so
Comedy
good,
show.
so funny.
He does his voice.
See, I know that face, but I don't know
Right.
the name. Yeah.
He just changes around from, and in our case, he just goes with whatever.
He's awesome right there. See the guy, it says John Madden says, I love you, Pat. Up.
Yeah.
Right there, that guy.
Pat Summerall.
Yeah, he's
Pat
awesome.
Summerall, yeah.
Yeah, he's awesome.
He passed away.
Did he?
Yeah, he died. Yeah. They were the team, they were like
they were
the
awesome.
number one announcing team for years. And
They were like, oh, wow. Man, now I'm having a brain.
Jim Nance and Troy Aikman, or Jim Nance and Tony Romo.
Troy Aikman's actually pretty good. I'm surprised.
Joe Buck, yeah.
But the guy that he got suspended for a while, and he was he reported the NBA all the time. Marv Albert.
Marv Albert, yes, it's good.
Yeah,
Yes.
I love him. But they suspended him for a while. I don't know if he touched
Yeah.
the ass or he did something.
He's back, yeah.
Yeah, he's back again.
Yeah, sometimes you lay low and, it all is forgiven.
So now, why'd you retire? What made you
Why
decide
did
to retire? Just had enough of it, or
Yeah, I started thinking about it probably when I was in my 50s. You start going down the list of, okay, at 59 and a half, I don't have to pay a 10% penalty on my 401k.
yeah, you start
Okay, so then
calculating
from
there.
59 and a half to 62, and then I could collect Social Security, but not the full Social. So you start playing those games, and then, I just kind of made up my mind that, do I want to work forever? I loved what I did, but it's tough to wake up that early, and that becomes your niche. So it's not like I could sit there and say, well, I'm going to do the 6 and 11, or I'm going to do the noon and the 5, or I'm gone. You find your niche where you're best at and what's best for the TV station, and you're a team player, and you go for it. So I did that as long as I could. Saved my money. I didn't live an extravagant life. Now I'm not getting haircuts or shaving, so I'm saving more.
Well, neither is David Letterman.
Right,
So,
he's down
there
to
you
here.
go. Yeah.
Got a long way to go. But it's like you go full circle, and you had goals and you kind of achieved them. People sometimes have asked, did you ever want to be like a network guy? I guess somewhere in the back of my mind, I did. And then you start realizing, like I did with sports, ooh, that's a tough nut to crack. And you have to, I hate to say sell your soul, but it's like you're living out of a suitcase.
Yeah.
You're watching these guys, and they're somewhere every day, wherever
Somewhere
the big
different
news,
every day.
every day,
Yeah.
wherever the big news is, they're there. And is it enough money to warrant that? I've got friends, and some of them are fed up with that. Some of them say, "I wish I could trade places with you. Which bed you're sleeping in every night." not that the money was great, but the money was good enough to, keep me happy and keep me employed and,
I mean, was there a
keep me going
certain
for it.
deciding factor that made you quit, or you just said, look, it's time?
When Rob left, I thought the whole world is going to hell. If Rob can leave, I'm leaving. So, no, it's nothing in particular. Just little by little,
The time.
things start changing.
Yeah.
You start seeing the changing of the guard. I could have stayed there. I could have, I could have stayed there another couple of years. You get to the point that, well, how long am I going to live? You see friends of yours dropping dead, I don't want to sound like an old fart, but, it's like,
It's true.
it happens.
Yeah.
It happens, and it's not just your friends, but, football players, it's like, God, that guy was 69. Tom Petty, 69, it's like, yeah, they have different situations, but Keith Richards is still alive, for God's sake, from the Rolling Stones.
Yeah.
And he's pushing 80, and, he's done more drugs than anybody in
He
the world.
doesn't look that bad for all the for what he put himself through. He really doesn't.
He
look
can
that
still
bad.
play Start Me Up.
At 80.
At 25, you couldn't understand what he was saying, so it
Yeah.
doesn't matter now. He opens his pie hole, you don't know what he's saying. But, I just think it's all of that mixed together. My daughter, she's only going to be around home for so long. And because of my schedule, I was always able to be there and pick her up at 3:15 at Carline, or in the old days, 2-something. And now take her to school if need be. Usually my wife, it's part of their routine, and then I pick her up in the afternoon. But now I can do it with like a full night's sleep. So all those things, I think, kind of mesh in there.
Yeah.
A lot of my friends that I grew up with, they retired little by little.
So you kind of just put all the pieces together, and then
Yeah.
they slowly came together, and then you just said, I had enough.
Yeah.
And like you said, your daughter she's 13, right?
She's 13.
So now it's kind of like
you
the
figure
time where
18, then what happens? I got a good 5 years. Well, once she starts driving, probably, this old guy,
Well,
that's my dad.
Well, you got to be home to guard the door.
Right. That's true. That's
what I mean?
true. I know. I gotta get more sleep.
Yeah. Yeah, you might have to, brush up a little
Right?
bit.
Yeah. Go back to karate.
I guess maybe you're allowed to do that.
Yeah.
Because you're not allowed to do anything else.
No, that's it. Just do that. So, no simple answer, just that. It's just the natural progression of things. I see people, they're cut from a different cloth. I mean, why does Warren Buffett at 89, worth $89 billion, still get up in Omaha when it's 0 degrees outside, put on a suit, and go to work?
I don't think he would know what to do with himself.
I
if he
guess.
didn't.
But
You see,
if you're worth that kind of money, couldn't you figure out something else?
I think it's just like the routine. You know what I mean? I think that he would just go nuts without that type of routine.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if I could imagine just not working. Not even for the money,
Right.
just because I would just
Right.
get bored. Maybe for like a year or two.
I know. That's how come I don't really have a good answer, because it's not like I want to reinvent the wheel. It's not like I have this burning desire to go do this. I sound lazy when I say I don't want to work that hard. But, you reach a certain age where I don't want to work that hard. I don't want to go prove myself at some job and have to clock in
Yeah.
every day and this and that.
Well, John, you worked, 42 years, half of it at 4 o'clock in the morning, which means you had to get up at 2, which means you had to go to bed at 8, juggle a family.
That's a little
And
extra
when you were
mileage.
single, juggle, going out.
Having fun.
Having fun. I mean, shit.
Having fun is hard work.
It is.
Yeah.
Especially when you got to get up at 2:30.
Oh, sometimes you just go right through from fun to work.
Yeah. Take a lot of breath mints,
That's
right?
Take a shower and go to work. Yeah. So again, there's no
Straight answer.
easy thing that it's time. Roxanne, left.
She's still working?
She left. Yeah.
She left too?
Yeah. That was March of 2018. I was going to leave like the end of that year, and then we discussed things. I stayed a little longer. At that time we had several people pregnant in the morning. All our morning women reported.
That was like every other
4 of them.
every
Right,
so many
right.
months.
Co-anchor, everybody, boom, everybody's pregnant. So I said, you know what? I'll just extend my, stay a little longer
Yeah.
until they all come back. And then one thing led to another. It's like, okay, let's just do it at the end of 2020. That's a good year. 2020. Who
Yeah.
knew that 2020 would be the
Yeah,
pit of a
big-
year that
yeah.
it was? And here I am broadcasting from home, from my dining room for almost 6 months. thinking, is this the way I'm going to end my 42-year career?
Crazy.
Here on my dining room table.
We watched it on YouTube. You can't play YouTube or they'll pull it because it's on YouTube or whatever. But yeah, I saw it. Like, you had 4 of you guys in the left-hand side, right?
Yeah.
And they were just clicking between them.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, it looked terrible.
It was like, like the Brady Bunch Open,
Yeah.
It was weird.
I mean, I guess you didn't really have an option.
You got to do what you got to do. At first I went kicking and screaming, and then you get, used to it. It's like, okay, so you're telling me I could basically wake up at 6:15, be on the air at 7, and be done by 9:01? That ain't a bad gig. Just dress from here up with a coat and tie and, flip-flops and shorts.
And take it.
I mean, most people would say, yeah, and pay me what they were paying me. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's why I say I could have stayed there. But if your heart's not in it, it's like, again, with sports, I always reflect back on everything with sports. God, why would this guy hang it up when they're going to pay him $12 million to sit on the end of the bench?
But like you said, if your heart's not in it, it's just not going to work.
Okay, let's move on to something else and just get on with life.
You get miserable.
Right.
If you would have stayed, you probably would have ended up miserable.
Right.
And now you're waking up, not only are you waking up at 4:30, you're waking up miserable at 4:30.
Right.
And then you're coming home miserable.
Right. And I did not want that to happen.
Yeah.
And that's the discussion I had with my news director and my GM. Our last conversation with the GM, he says, last time I talked you out of it, this time I understand where you're coming from, because he's getting to a certain age where he's thinking, this is it. The pandemic, it's a lot of weird things, working from home, coming in, being scared of catching something. It's been a weird time for everybody.
As a person that's been in the news for 42 years, what's your opinion on the COVID? If you want to stay away from that, just say, I plead.
Well, like a lot of people say, it doesn't exist. It's, it's the flu. Well, I think we've gotten beyond that, there's close to 600,000 people, even now, with a solution in hand, with a shot that you can get with a vaccine. And A, some people still aren't getting it. And B, people are still going to the hospital. The number is still over that 5% that we want it to be. So there's something to it. I'm no doctor, but you know what? I kind of got on the Fauci bandwagon that if the guy is saying it, he knows a little more than me. Again, why would a guy that's, whatever he is, 80-something years old, who's made plenty of money, who's got, I'm sure, a nice little pension, why would he keep doing it? Because now his mission in life is to help people or educate them enough.
Fauci?
So that they don't die,
Yeah.
Maybe that's the way he feels. That's the impression that I get from him, that he's still out there every morning on every talk show saying it's still dangerous and let's hang in there for a couple more months or whatever. We're all sick of it. I mean, I went to a restaurant last night. It's like I'm looking around, make sure, that 6 feet away and got my mask. Okay, my mask is off. Are we 6 feet away? I don't know. That's 5 feet 4 inches. I don't know. And it's becoming crazy. I mean, I'm glad I got the first shot.
Did you get sick at all from it?
No, nothing. No effect
Did you
at
take
all.
the Pfizer or the Moderna?
Moderna. And they say that after 5 days, you're like 80% covered. That's good enough for me for now.
Yeah.
Get the next shot next week or the week after. And then I'm done.
Is it 2?
2.
And Pfizer's like, it's got to be cold and all
Right.
that shit, right?
Yeah.
I think
And then the Johnson & Johnson got pulled.
Yeah, they pulled
because
that.
of some clotting and,
Yeah.
I'm glad I didn't get that one. That was the one that I was hoping to get.
Yeah,
Get one shot and I'm done.
Yeah.
But
well, maybe you do have some luck.
God was watching out.
Yeah.
So, it's all these things rolled together and it becomes just part of your life and why you do what you do, why you believe the way you believe.
Yeah, at least we're not in California or New York where
Right.
it's really locked down. At least we can move around.
Exactly.
So,
there's a lot of,
gotta be thankful for
outdoors.
that.
I always joke that, like let's say last night we went out for a little cruise on the boat, an hour, little spin around, Peanut Island, just because we could. The boat was in the water. It's a beautiful day. So we just kind of took it out. And then you start thinking, what's the temperature in Rochester today? They're not doing this in Buffalo or Rochester, or,
yeah.
It's just the way it is,
And they're not even going to Starbucks out
Right,
there.
right.
My friend was just out there, and he said that it's boarded up. Things are starting to open slowly,
Yeah.
but most of it is still boarded up. And California is I had this guy, Tony, I'm going to butcher his name. Verdugo? How do I say his last name? What? Verdugo. He's originally from California. He's out here now doing some business. And they got what do you say, 200 million or like a shit ton of ballots to get rid of that governor or mayor in California.
Right. Yeah,
because he's locking everything up, raising everything, worried about this smog, but yet he's got what is it? Not death row, but Skid Row. Tents of Skid Row, people just piling up, not even doing anything about it.
It's a tough job. I mean,
don't want it.
I know.
I don't want that.
It's a tough job. It's a tough job, and I don't know why. I'm glad somebody wants it because I can't imagine. Like when Trump was running for president, I thought this guy is 70 something years old. He's a billionaire. Why would he want that headache? That's just the way it is. And I'm glad that somebody wants that headache.
Yeah, I agree.
But oh my goodness.
I thought the same thing. You got a beautiful wife.
Yeah.
You got smart kids. You got plenty of money.
You got Mar-a-Lago.
You got Mar-a-Lago.
Have a party every night.
Yeah. I don't think he thought he was going to win. And I think when he won, this is just my opinion.
Now what do I do?
I don't know. I'm nobody. This is just my opinion. I don't think he thought he was going to win. I think he thought he would do it, for ratings on another show or just to keep himself out there. Then when he won, I think he was kind of like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
Then
Can't take it back. Yeah.
Then when he got into the office and he saw what was going on and he saw it like, the real deal, what was going on, I think then is when he started changing. And I think he was for America. Yeah, that's just my opinion. I could be wrong.
Listen, there's no doubt he's for America.
Yeah.
There's no doubt that he bleeds, red, white, and blue. Yeah.
But I don't think he thought he was going to win. And I think when he sat down in that chair and, read through all the, the things that he has to read through to be president and saw the shit that was happening, I think then... I
got to fix this.
Yeah, I think, because he's a business type of guy. And I think he was just... I think then he took it seriously. Although his Twitter, you would think he didn't.
Well...
But he had to get
a lot of tweeting going on.
Yeah, a lot of shit.
I know.
On a commercial, like say on Fox, right, or whatever. Let's just say Tucker Carlson, because I think he's paying all their bills personally.
Right.
To get a commercial in there, like say a 30-second commercial, what do you think that pillow guy's paying for that 30 seconds?
Wow, I wouldn't know.
I always wanted to ask.
Again, it's not my end of the business, but I would say. A lot. Does that count? I would say.
Take a wild guess. You don't have to be right.
Super Bowl money. No, not Super Bowl money. Because that's ridiculous.
They're like
a
million.
For one 30-second spot?
It's more than $1 million, I think. For Super Bowl?
No, yeah. Super Bowl is crazy. I mean, I'm talking about on,
Yeah, let's just say like
CNN, Fox.
CNN, say it's
50,000.
Don Lennon.
$50,000.
50,000 for 30 seconds?
Yeah.
Jeez, and he's got
depending on how many million viewers, it's worth it. Like, okay, God bless Rush Limbaugh. He just recently died.
He died?
Yeah.
Oh,
he died
shit.
A month or two ago.
Where the fuck have I? See, I don't watch this shit.
Yeah.
I'm tired of it. I don't watch
it. Well,
it's
what happens.
I put it on ESPN.
They talk so much that after a while, it's like, wah, 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 wah.
I put it on for 15 minutes, and I go to ESPN, and I'll watch First Take, and then I'll go over and watch Shannon, and because I like Skip. Skip Bayless.
There you go.
I don't watch it. I can't. Wow, Rush died.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
So
he had what? Throat cancer, right?
What was it?
I think it might have been throat cancer.
God, I can't remember.
It was throat cancer. Yeah.
Wow.
I think so. I forgot what point I was going to make.
Yeah, where were we? Because I was gonna ask you to look something up.
The number, how much for the ads?
Right.
Oh.
Because that guy on radio had millions and millions of people. I mean, it's like a primetime TV show that's good, that's popular, like, whatever's going on now that is number one or number two. I mean, he would, talk for whatever, 3 hours in the afternoon and have 5 million people or something.
He was the Howard Stern of kind of like political radio.
Right.
Look and see if you can Google how much is a commercial on Rush. How much was a commercial on Rush? A 30-second commercial on Rush Limbaugh. I always wondered that.
Yeah,
especially with.
So I'd just throw a big number out there just because I the same way like we talked about Michael Jordan, $100 million from Nike.
Yeah.
Even now at 50-something years old, because he's a brand and it's worth it. They're making billions of dollars
Billions.
selling sneakers.
Well, they gave LeBron $1 billion, or close to $1 billion.
That's
Yeah.
Well, I don't doubt it.
What does that say? How much does radio stations are adding as many minutes as an hour, 8 commercials? They're not really telling you.
Advertisers spent $363 million on all radio last year. So
Are radio ads worth it? Maybe that has something. No.
how much does it?
There you go.
This is just
Just on normal radio, so this doesn't really tell you, but anywhere from $200 to $5,000 per week. But I'm guessing on Rush Limbaugh, and things like that is probably
Yeah, I mean, it's hard.
triple that maybe.
It's hard to tell, because there's so many different ways, I'm sure, to sell it. Like, let's say,
Like
car
package
commercials.
deals.
Yeah, you got to go Origo, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
I've seen that about
exactly.
9,000
Yeah,
times.
so I'm sure they make a package deal with the Origo brothers,
Yeah.
and they got their shtick, and so they. As long as, as the seller of the ads at the TV station, that you've got that 30-second covered, this hole, you got 24 hours of holes to cover.
Yeah.
And if you can sell them 50 commercials for X amount of money, it's better than individual commercials that you might get double.
Right. So you would buy, say, 20 spots
Right.
and get a deal, like a bulk deal, like
right,
anything else.
Right.
Yeah.
You're buying in bulk. You're going to Costco to get your commercials.
Yeah. Now, before I let you get out of here, you got to tell me who some of these people are. Go to his Instagram, if you don't mind. Is that okay, John?
Jeez, how long is your newscast?
Well,
That's me.
You're at the 4:30 to 9
that's-
o'clock shift.
That's fine.
Yeah, because you
Oh,
got
my
to.
goodness, look how fast you're going. Oh, look at Elvis. Thank you
Yeah.
very much.
Oh, yeah.
I just threw those socks
I
out.
heard you're the sock guy.
The what? Yes, I was the sock
What's
guy.
what's with the sock?
Now, this is it. Now, I just got my Nike socks.
Well, that's
here.
for that's
They're paying me $100 million each.
all right. Can I borrow $20K?
Elvis, I sad to say, I'm chucking stuff.
Yeah.
I've been a hoarder. Short story. We just got a guy that shreds stuff that came over our house, and I'm looking through stuff to shred. I find boxes from 2006. How much? I mean, what do I need that for? What did I need it for 10 years ago?
Right. If you haven't touched it since 2006, you're probably
Are you
not going to
kidding
touch
me?
it. Yeah.
I didn't even look at it. I mean, I started kind of, my wife said, you haven't looked at it, just throw it away. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, dear. Here. Okay.
Yeah, you guys make a good couple. Because you probably would have went through the whole damn thing.
Yeah. I looked at
I
a
started
couple of
keeping
pages,
shit.
Yeah.
that's Holiday.
Yeah, Holiday, my co-anchor at Fox 29. And we also did the 11 a.m. news.
Yeah.
On
Did you meet
NBC.
Deion Sanders? Or you just like him?
Me?
Yeah, isn't that Deion Sanders up there? Right
Yeah,
there.
yeah. I don't know why he's there.
Something. Oh, him coaching.
Oh, that's
Oh,
right.
wow.
He's coaching. Yeah, there's my wife there in the middle. Wait, don't go so fast. Right there. St. Pete Beach.
You guys look good together.
That says out of the office. That's when I still could wear
Yeah.
that shirt. Out of the office. Now it's like every day I wear
Out
that.
of the office, yeah. And it's like glow in the dark pink, just so everybody knows I'm out of the office.
Out of the
right?
office, yes.
Don't bother me. There's Steve-O.
Yeah, Steve-O. You know, guys like that come into your life and they're fun.
Yeah.
They're crazy. You know, and you.
Was he nice?
Yes, yeah. Some guys come in with attitude.
Yeah.
They just kind of come in, they plop their ass on the chair, and then
Who was the biggest dick?
just like-
Can you tell me that?
Rosie O'Donnell.
I hate that. Hey, I'm with you on that one. And not because of anything. I
had to
I don't
kill an
like-
interview with her because she was so bad.
What'd she do?
She was
bad?
so mean and so condescending.
Yeah.
It was a satellite interview. It wasn't even, like face to face. And I said to, after we finished, I tried and, was nice about it. And, okay, thank you very much, Rosie. Have a good day. Yeah. I said to my boss, we can't run that. I know that you have a hole in there for like 3 minutes of this interview with Rosie about her new show coming back. Can't, here, look at it.
I agree with you 100% because sometimes that stupid show would be on
Yeah.
and the condescending.
Yeah.
Everything she says is condescending.
It's tough, but, you never know what you're going to get. I love James Caan.
Yeah.
And the guy that was married to Fergie, they were on that show together, Las Vegas.
Oh, yeah.
That show was coming on the air, so we haven't seen it yet. That show was coming on the air. And these guys did not want to do this interview. Again, L.A. time, East Coast time. We're recording this at 9 in the morning. It's like 6 in the morning there. So they're pissed off. And James Caan's a big shot actor. He's been around a while, So it probably he's not happy about having to do this circus of, local radio station or local TV stations. To him, if he's Mr. L.A., West Palm Beach, market 36, 37 doesn't mean anything.
He could care less.
The hell with it, He's probably got the attitude like in the movie Elf.
Yeah.
I loved him in that role, but
Yeah, I could see Rosie O'Donnell.
anyway, so the two, those two stick out in my mind.
Those two.
Yeah, and I love the guy. It's just you catch people on a bad day, and that's it. The two of them were like locker room. You couldn't get anything in there. You couldn't get any meat.
Yeah.
You're trying to, hey, this show's going to be great for NBC. Whatever. It's like, hey, it's just another.
It's trying to like beat things out of them.
Yeah. You don't
then
make
when
me
they
work that hard. This is for you, dude. You're getting paid in millions. But
Yeah.
so those two, I'm sure if I thought about it enough, there'd be others. But
And who was one? Give me the three best like celebrities
the
that
best. We saw Bob Saget.
You said how nice Bob Saget was.
Genuine
Yeah.
guy. Years and years ago, Phyllis Diller was phenomenal. She was, so big in the 60s and just crazy comedian that opened the door for a lot of people, a lot of women. And she was very giving of her time and all that. She was here, doing something on stage, some comedy thing at like Royal Poinciana or the Maltz Theater in Jupiter or something. And, just people like that are, very genuine. Martina Navratilova.
Oh,
I didn't know what to expect from her. She comes in with like a pit bull, and she's tough,
Yeah.
and she doesn't have the most pleasant look on her face all the time. But as soon as I, hi, Martina, it's so good to see you. Oh, hi, hello, and her,
Yeah.
little,
like you said.
and then it was still kind of broken English, but she was phenomenal.
Yeah.
And she was really a nice lady, a great interview. Stuck around to record something for the later, newscast.
Later people. Yeah.
So, people will surprise you. And, always had that tough image compared to Chris Everett, and nothing against Chris Everett, but it was always the other way around in real life.
Opposite,
Chris
yeah.
Everett was a little tougher nut to crack than Martina.
Yeah.
And Chris Everett was a little to herself.
Now, are all these night shows like Jimmy Kimmel and all? Are they all pre-recorded?
Yeah.
So they're doing that in the day.
During the evening.
The evening.
I'm not sure exactly what time. I remember hearing something about Johnny Carson used to record at 6:30 in the evening. So I'm sure it's still somewhere in that neighborhood.
And then they play it at 11 or whatever.
11:30. Yeah.
I always wondered I thought that, but I always wanted to be sure because I was thinking these guys aren't coming in at 11 o'clock at night.
No.
No way in hell.
No.
No.
Yeah, that's
What socks you got
Taco.
there?
It's Taco Tuesday.
Oh, Taco Tuesday.
Yeah.
What are that? Looks like bananas.
Well, maybe it was banana. Yeah, banana Tuesday.
All right. Well, hey, banana tacos, whatever. Same thing.
Those are fun little,
Yeah, I saw a picture of you on there with Rocco's Tacos.
Yeah, listen, Rocco's was always a great guest. You talk about a guy that's very
He's
giving.
killing it.
Yeah, he's doing a great job. Super, super nice guy. Diagnosed with multiple sclerosis.
He sure as hell doesn't look like it.
Yeah, I know. That's how come you can't judge a book by its cover. I'm sure he deals with that. you know, and he wonders, why me in his own private time. But he's a very giving guy. He's got Team Rocco to, raise funds for things like that.
Yeah.
Super, super guy.
But, with these stem cells and everything else, there's a very good chance.
You hope,
that he could get through it. And that eats away your bones, right? Am I right?
I think it's like it atrophies your muscles to the point that you can't, you go from having to have some assistance, for your legs, and then wheelchair and whatever. It kind of takes you down little by little.
That's a shame with that Rocco Tacos because I've read, when I get a paper that's this thin.
Yeah, right.
And he donates a lot.
Yeah.
That's a shame. Well, I wish him the best. I hope he can find a way to beat that. But he looks good though.
Yeah,
so
he does.
That's a good part.
Makes a good guacamole and a real good margarita. And again, he's very generous with his margaritas. So.
All right, John the Legend. I'll let you get home and.
John Legend is somebody else. He plays piano. He sings real good.
No. Who's that? This is the legend
It's
here.
a different legend. Well, thanks. I appreciate it.
I'll let
Thank
you
you
get
for
home and
having
eat
me
your fish. Oh yeah, come back.
Yeah, we'll do it.
Well, we have fun. We'll just shoot the shit, talk.
We've only
sports,
scratched the surface.
Yeah, yeah. But thank you again for your time.
Thanks.
I know you want to make that fish.
Yo,
How bad are you
absolutely.
dying
That's
for
all
that
right.
fish?
Hey, I'll eat at 8 tonight. That's all right.
How bad do you want that fish right now?
I'm hungry. Yeah.
All right,
good
John.
fish.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
And make sure you come back in again.
All
okay?
right, we'll do
Have a
it.
good
When
time.
LeBron gets to close to number 1, we'll talk and see if he's
Well,
the GOAT.
Let's see. What is he? 1,000 points behind?
like a little more than that, but yeah.
So maybe another
Couple
year.
of thousand.
You're gonna make me wait a year to have you back in?
You gotta get the
well-
beard longer. The beard's got to get longer.
Yeah, no, listen, I've been trimming it. My wife's not crazy about it, so I've been trimming it. So trying to keep it short.
She
trying to
probably doesn't
sneak
like.
it in there. Hey, does it still look like a beard? Yes, it looks like a beard.
John, do you know any girl that goes and like when a girl kisses you and you
Yeah.
didn't shave, they
Yeah.
could feel that scrub.
Absolutely, I know.
And every one of them complains.
Right.
So
Right.
you might just have to do it.
But I'm only married to one, and she's complaining. So it's,
Well, that's. I think you better.
maybe now that I've been famous here, then now I can shave it. Now everybody's seen me. I can shave it. I'm no longer the Dos Equis guy.
All right. Well, we're moving to a different studio in a month.
Oh.
Once I go over to the other studio, then I'm gonna make you come back.
Okay.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm not
We'll
gonna
do it
make
bigger and better.
Nah, that's
Yeah.
just. I didn't mean make you.
Listen,
It'd be nice if you could.
I'll just eat Burger King or McDonald's that night.
I'll have it-
I won't have that famous.
How about this? I'll have it here for you.
Okay,
You can eat while we talk. I don't care.
that's fine. I don't
You
either.
can drink margaritas. You can do whatever you want.
We'll do it.
All right, John.
Then you never know what's going to come out of my pie hole.
That's what I should have done. I should have given him some Tito's.